Oh, there we go. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is Thursday night, October 30th, 2025, 8 o'clock Central Time. This is People in the Boxes, episode 168 tonight. We are going to talk about a sort of an array of topics that all have the same thing in common, which is the welfare state or the food stamps link, EBT, etc. That whole thing. We're going to talk about it. We're going to get back to it in a few minutes after we play this intro to get some notifications out to everybody. If you could help us out with that, we'll be right back. Let's talk about it. We'll be back in about 4 minutes and 20 seconds.
Voices echo through the walls so thin, trapped in squares where the stories begin. Whispers rise from the shadows deep, secrets these boxes swear to keep. People in the boxes, souls on display, talking through the silence, night into day. Bound by lines, yet the truth breaks free. People in the boxes calling to me. Cube holds a tale untold, hearts of fire, dreams so bold. Walls can't hold what the spirit sings, laughter and tears on fragile wings. People in the boxes, souls on display, talking through the silence, night into day. Bound by lines, yet the truth breaks free. People in the boxes calling to me. Cages or a stage to stand, a prison built by a human hand. Voices clash, then they blend as one. In the boxes the journey's begun. People in the boxes, souls on display, talking through the silence, night into day. Bound by lines, yet the truth breaks free. People in the boxes calling to me. I hear their sound, lost and seeking yet profound. People in the boxes near and far, shining out like a guiding star. Voices echo through the walls so thin, trapped in squares where the stories begin. Whispers rise from the shadows deep, secrets these boxes swear to keep. People in the boxes, souls on display, talking through the silence, night into day. Bound by lines, yet the truth breaks free. People in the boxes calling to me. Every cube holds a tale untold, hearts of fire, dreams so bold. Walls can't hold what the spirit sings, laughter and tears on fragile wings. People in the boxes, souls on display, talking through the silence, night into day. Bound by lines, yet the truth breaks free. The people in the boxes calling to me. Or a stage to stand, a prison built by a human hand. Voices clash, then they blend as one. In the boxes, the journey's begun. People in the boxes, souls on display, talking through the silence, night into day. Bound by lines, yet the truth breaks free. People in the boxes calling to me. Holds a tale untold, hearts of fire, dreams so bold. Walls can't hold what the spirit sings, laughter and tears on fragile wings. Every cage is or a stage to stand, a prison built built by a human hand.
All right, we're back. What's up, everybody? It's Thursday night, October 30th, 2025, 8:07 now, Central Time. This is People in the Boxes, episode 168. 168. It's a bit of a contentious time. At least this country, and I mean, a lot of countries have some issues at the moment, but in America, we've got a lot of stuff going on, and it's set to be on the 1st, where the food stamp or SNAP link, uh, all these different names, EBT, is supposed to be shut off, or at least ended or stopped or not paid for going forward. I don't know. We're going to see. We'll see what happens. A lot of people are making videos about it. There's all these viral videos about it. People up in arms, people pretty upset, talking about looting and talking about consequences and stuff. So we're going to get into it today. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about our experiences, what we have had happen in our lives with the topic of, and it's kind of several words to describe the topic, because welfare in general we're going to get into, but we're also going to talk about, more specifically, food stamps, link, SNAP, EBT. I think that's all of it, right? Food stamps, link, SNAP, EBT. Yeah, 4 different names for the same thing, basically. We're going to talk about that. We're going to get into it. We got a few people that are going to hang out with us that aren't playing the story. So if anybody else wants to come up, as always, we want to offer you a spot to come and hang out with us and talk about your experiences with this topic, but you do not have to be in the game itself. We are going to play the game, though, I believe. Put the link out here. I got Kim with me right now. Just me and Kim. Just me and Kim. We're gonna hold it down for now. We got JB in the Rumble chat. She's our story keeper tonight. Thank you, JB. We got a bunch. There's Macy and Margaret, Alice and Chris, all on the Rumble. Let's go. We got 11 Rumblers in the house, 9 on Facebook. Don't go anywhere, guys. You make sure you get in on the door prize later on and the number spin for the Indoor Farmer subscribers. I believe Bean Dongo's going to come in, but I don't think he's going to play the game tonight. I think Macy will be here at some point, and Elisa May. I hope you show up, ladies, because Kim and I, we could argue all day long until the cows come home, probably. But we want to hear some stories. We want to talk about what people have actually experienced on this topic. Now, as far as right now, I guess Kim and I can get into what's going on right now. Whether or not you agree with one side or the other on this, right now, Congress is holding up basically the entirety of the government funding for some differences of what they want in it from each side, and that, I guess, is going to create a situation where the payments or the funding for food stamps is going to lapse or at least end. Now, some people are calling for, like, they can't wait. They want it to happen. Not because, and from what I've seen anyway, let's say it this way, not because they want the chaos and the people to die or whatever you want to, like, however the worst outcome you can think of, but because they see that we've kind of got a problem coming, whether or not we do it now or later, it's coming, whether it's going to collapse, like not just food stamps, but so many programs, all sorts of things. We are, I don't know how many trillion, I don't know what's our debt now, 30 trillion, 30 something trillion. It's insane. Like, it just can't keep going like that. We got Lisa May in the house. Well, what's up, ladies? Let me say hello. I guess, Kim, I'll ask you in a minute. She's eating a magic brownie over there or something. I don't know.
I'm getting your chocolate fix.
The chocolate fix. Lisa May, hello.
Hello.
I like your plants in the background. It's nice.
Thanks. They're fake mostly. One of them's real.
It's okay. It's nice to have some green in the area. I have a fake plant in my basement. I haven't decided what to do with it. It's too big almost. But yeah, we want to hear from you guys. Want to hear? I actually have a post that we're going to pull up that I made earlier today, and just said what our topic was going to be tonight, and I asked for people to comment below and tell me, some stories that you have on the subject. And boy, did people weigh in on it. It definitely, of course, it gets political for a lot of people. Other people are more uh, just worried about death and worried about starvation and stuff, and that's kind of what they're stuck on, and that's the only thing they're worried about is the starving children, the starving children. So a lot of people are kind of getting fixated on little specifics on this whole thing. But the fact is, it doesn't matter which presidency or which administration it happens under, it's going to happen, in my opinion. You guys can disagree with me if you want, but the collapse of a lot of these programs, like for instance, so here's the post I made, talking about food stamps, SNAP, Link, EBT, etc. tonight on People in the Boxes. Comment below and share your experience with any type of welfare. So we did get some comments, some quite large ones, in fact. I didn't get a chance to hit the like button on all of them. I appreciated all the input from anybody, whether it was something I agreed with or didn't agree with. So we're going to read some of these, I guess, real quick here while we wait. I think we still have Macy Buds that's going to come in. She's cooking dinner right now. You're going to come up and play, right, Macy? You send in some stories? Right now I have the first 2 stories loaded. I can keep going on that any minute. Here, we'll do the third one. We'll do at least 3. So what do you, I guess let's talk about the change in the food stamps not too long ago. Would both of you agree with the changes of trying to reduce some of the sugary foods and things like that that people are able to eat with, are able to buy with the food stamps? Or is that, some people think it's a freedom issue and they should be free to buy anything, but then other people think, well, that's not with our money. I mean, you're buying it with our money. So what do you think, Kim? Does it make sense to sort of limit the food stamp benefits to food that's just nutritious and that's it, like just keep you alive kind of food, and not a bunch of fun snacks and treats?
No, I'm like, I don't like a bunch of junk food personally. I didn't allow my son to eat a bunch of junk, when he was growing up. So, I was very cognizant of raising a kid that was healthy, and had good eating habits and whatnot. What he did once he became an adult was his own business.
That can have the opposite effect. Kids that are kept away from certain things, not just food wise, but I've seen it where they'll just go head first into it as soon as they're able to. Things like debauchery.
He wasn't kept from it, but he definitely, I don't know, he just wasn't allowed to go hog wild with it. I didn't keep a lot of that stuff. Like I would make a cake or brownies or something like that occasionally, but it wasn't like my house was full of junk food. And as far as like eating at McDonald's and stuff like that, I cut that kind of shit out of the diet, because that was during the time that he was growing up. That was when all of that stuff came out about what was in that meat. And I was like, oh my God, that's disgusting. I mean, I haven't touched a lot of fast food. I don't eat fast food very much. Very, very picky. There's only certain fast food I eat, and I know what they put in the meat.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't. You can't buy fast food with Link. I don't think. Maybe you can. Am I wrong about that?
No, but I'm just saying that those were things that I limited. I wanted my son to eat nutritious, healthy food, and fast food was not like that. And the American diet just is full of that shit. I mean, these kids, I don't know, it just blows me away the shit people eat nowadays.
Diane has a good point here. She said they're talking about trying to do drug testing for on everyone again that want to be on SNAP. That's another very contentious issue because let's be honest, a lot of people that are on the SNAP benefits are also on drugs. Um, I don't know how that would. I don't know what would happen there. You know, what that would do, or I think people would be almost just as angry and almost just as up in arms, like just pissed.
Well, realize
Yeah.
that drug testing is going to include cannabis because
Right.
cannabis is still a Schedule II drug.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's going to knock out cannabis users.
So that's what I mean. People will be really mad about it, but I think that makes a lot of sense.
If you're using it for your medical, that's a HIPAA violation for them to deny you for.
Maybe,
Yeah.
but the medical isn't federally recognized, so
Yeah.
I don't know how that would work.
Yeah.
Hey Macy, what was for dinner? What was the what's the dish?
Pork chop and fried taters.
She's like government cheese, okay. Pork chops and fried taters. Okay, nice pork chops, yum.
Wait,
Go
I
ahead.
really have a
we
hard
all
time
have
with-
a or is it just me?
You were echoey there. What's that?
I said, are we all echoey or is it just me?
We're all
No. Oh, you know what? That's my fault. Go ahead, Elisa, one more time.
That's all I was asking you, if we were all echoing.
Oh, okay, then good. We're on the same page here. Cool. All right, let me find a seat
I
here.
have a hard time with that though, because with the drug part, I don't know, I'd have to think about it, but to figure out exactly where I came down with that, because I see the argument and there's a part of me that agrees with it, but there's a part of me that disagrees with it. When it comes down to nutrition, if my tax dollars are going to be paying for this, which they do, then I would prefer to see the majority of the food that's bought be healthy stuff instead of fucking Doritos and.
I'll push
I
back
think it
on
goes
that.
a little.
Go ahead.
I think it goes a little further beyond that. All the stuff in the store on the shelves pretty much has something wrong with it.
That's where I was going with that.
Or an
Yeah.
ingredient in it you shouldn't be eating.
Yeah.
Well, I
Now-
agree with you. I agree with you on that, but at least it's got some nutritional value, whereas freaking Doritos and Skittles and all
That's
this
a
shit.
good
I
point.
mean, as a
That's a good
teacher, it astonished me the shit that those kids eat, and they'll eat that shit all day long. They won't eat lunch. Nutritious
Yeah, but the
meals.
stuff they're spraying on your vegetables there nowadays ain't good either, or the pesticides they're growing them in. So
Both good points, but I agree. I think Kim, you make a good point where at least it's food that is supposed to be nutritional value, whether or
Mhm.
not we are making that happen or making it
Well, that's
worthwhile.
the thing that the government, I think, needs to step up and start regulating.
RFK's been talking
as-
about it.
Yeah, he's trying. They're
As much
they're
as
putting
I
out.
dislike government being so far in everybody's business, it's like, I think shit like that needs to be regulated because it's poisoning people's bodies, the shit that they put in stuff and the shit that's used. And it's like, that needs to be regulated. That's a government issue. That is not an issue that I have as much control over. I have control over what I eat. I try to be a good consumer, but even still, it's like it's
Hi,
hard.
Brenda.
It's
It's like a
hard.
corruption issue. Big pharma wanting you to need them by feeding you poison.
I don't know that I agree with that, but I think that we don't have as much control over the food that we buy because we don't grow it ourselves anymore. And so, we it's hard. That part of it's hard. But I think as far as things that, I think as far as if I had input on, you know, what my tax dollars are paying for, it's like I don't want my tax dollars paying for Cheetos and Doritos and Skittles and the shit that these kids drink. You ought to see what they eat, dude. Like, it's crazy. Just sitting here.
Well, then maybe they should top it at a certain amount or something. But I know growing up, my mom and us were on it pretty much my whole life. And she didn't get to buy us Doritos and shit all the time. By the time she got breakfast, lunch, and dinner, we were lucky to get a snack.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm telling you though, like, and I don't know what percentage of the kids that would come through my class were on SNAP, but I'm just telling you, as a general rule, as a general observation, and this was middle school and high school, watching these kids, because they come in the classroom with their snacks and they sit there and they graze this shit the whole day. And I didn't allow food to be eaten in my class. No food, no gum, no drinks. You could have water. And if, somebody's birthday and we were celebrating a birthday or some special thing, then I brought food in. Like I would, maybe bring cupcakes or something like that, depending on what the occasion was. But these kids, man, it blows me away the shit that they eat. And they all do it. The vast majority of them are eating crap diets, so that's the other side of it too, is that if you have a family that's on SNAP and they're not allowed to buy those things, I guarantee you these kids are going to school and it's like their peers are eating this stuff. It's like, I don't know, it's not fair. I don't know. There's a lot of shit that goes with that. It's complicated. It's not that, to me, it's not that cut and dried. But personally, I would like to see a decent diet where you're not eating fast food kinds of stuff, that kind of junk food.
Make it more like the WIC program.
Maybe. I'm not really familiar with the WIC program.
Cheese and bread, milk.
Charity, yeah, that's what we were talking about, is them removing the sugars and stuff. Yeah, the WIC program is a little bit different, but it's pretty broad. I mean, you can use it for kid is like up to the kid is like 5, I think. Am I remembering that right? Something like that.
Yeah.
That's quite a bit. But you know what? Cheese, milk, and eggs, like to Elise's point, I think the eggs are the only thing I can't think of something wrong with them, or at least said to be wrong with them. And what's crazy is like they put sugar in our milk. It's like, why? Do not need sugar in the milk. I don't really drink much milk, but I will drink some milk because I have a sweet tooth when it comes to the cannabis. I'm gonna blame. I don't blame Mary Jane for many things, but I blame her for that. My munchies go straight to the. I need something that requires milk to drink to go down with it. Yeah.
I'm allergic to dairy, so I'm allergic to dairy and I'm allergic to eggs. So.
Oh wow, that's sad.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And bread is just sugar too.
I don't eat bread. I think I may have a gluten intolerance. It really gives me bad acid reflux when I eat bread. So
you can't eat bread, milk, or eggs. What do you eat? Rice and beans, huh?
I don't eat either one of those, dude. I eat beef.
Okay.
Beef and vegetables.
Oh, one thing before we get started on the story game, now that we got our players here, one thing that that I didn't find out until after I was using any SNAP benefits is that you can use the SNAP benefits to purchase seeds, vegetable and fruit seeds, and you can use it to purchase plants even at places that sell like a tomato plant or whatever that's already growing. You can use it to buy that kind of stuff too in some places.
You
I
can
think
buy fruit trees and everything too.
okay. I don't know where you would have to research where you could do it at in your area or whatever, but that's pretty cool that they would offer those things because those are ways. Because some people argue that they never have a way for you to get off of them, off of the benefits, and it may not be fully true in that respect because they offer you ways to become a little more self-sustainable by buying, some seeds. Yeah, maybe that's not everything, but you know what? You can actually buy a lot of stuff in the grocery store that's used as nutrients for plants. Buy some bananas, buy some, coffee grounds, whatever. There's all sorts of things that you can purchase that's food, but then also, boom, give it to your plants. So food for thought, if you will. All right, guys, let's see. Let's see. Okay, well, we lost our half our Rumble audience already. We haven't started the show. Let's go. Hit that hashtag PITB in the chat, if you will. I know we're gonna have Mr. Bean Dongo coming in, hanging out, and getting in on the conversation, but he's not gonna play at the game tonight. So I think we have just us four at the moment. I did put the link out. I'll put the link out on the Rumble side one more time. The link is pinned on Facebook, so if anybody wants to come up, give it a shot. It's free. Don't act like you weren't convinced to try StreamYard at one point or another and had to figure it out. So come on. StreamYard's nice, but this is a lot cheaper.
I have to say that if the whole thing where the government comes in and says the thing about drugs, like, I don't think that that's the right thing to do. I think that benefit program, you have a lot of people that are addicts, and addiction is, an up and down and back and forth and round kind of a thing. And some people make it out and some people die from it. And some people, are in and out of it the rest of their lives. And I don't think that you should, if you have a program to feed people, that's a basic necessity in life. Food, water, shelter, those are basic necessities that you need in life. And I think that you're penalizing people. You're like criminalizing them. You're punishing them for drug use. And I don't think that that's fair.
Yeah.
I think that's right. That's a moral thing for me.
Yeah, really, it's an epidemic on the poor people too.
Yeah.
Macy, you got you're getting drowned out as soon as anyone talks. It's probably just because you're on the phone. Let me see if I can turn you up a little bit more. No, can't go up anymore. But go ahead, Macy. Your audio just cuts as soon as someone else is talking.
I said I feel like we're also getting robbed and taken advantage of with the water. We have to pay for water if we have to have it. If they wouldn't make us pay for water, we'd probably have more funding for food.
Okay, I see your point, but how would we then maintain the water treatment plants and the waterways and all the plumbing that goes from the city to your house? And
once again, that's a government situation, and they've got all their wires crossed in the wrong ways. And once they get it all figured out, there's ways to do it. They're too money hungry to even figure anything out, in my opinion.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'll play devil's advocate here and just be like, well, if we can believe what they say, which I don't think we can, but then we got to have some money for municipal like upkeep. But then we drive around in potholes and everything else. Like what's really going on here? Too many politicians are coming out of office way richer than when they went in.
Here in this town, we have to have $200 for a deposit. That's not counting turning it on. They also charge you $50 for turning it on, but it's a total of $250.
Just for water?
to
Yeah.
turn water on. And it's
Wow.
different every town. They make their own rules and regulations on it. So I feel like what's going on here in this town, $250 just to turn it on is way too much. When I first moved here, it was $50 only. But because people are not paying their water bills, they are upcharging everybody $200 just for security deposit.
Wow. I don't think I even paid anything like that here.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot more to the whole water situation than just, I think, you know, they I think the reason why they have municipalities, because I've given this a lot of thought, because growing up ish, when I was a middle school and teenager, we lived in a rural area and there wasn't city water. We had a well. And, you live in the area that I live in now it used to be completely agriculture, almost completely agricultural. So most of the area lived on wells. We have a river, so they would irrigate through the water that came from the river. Now that's all controlled because we have to share the water with Texas and we have to share the water with Mexico because we have the Rio Grande as our main water source. So it's all very controlled. You're not allowed to have your own wells anymore. Um, Farmers may. I'm not quite sure what the rules are for them,
I'd hope
but
so.
like people that live in the city or in the city limits, and the city limits have expanded over the last 50 years, um, that had wells on their property, like they probably have wells that are still functional if they still own the original land, that had that water well on it, but they're not allowed to use it. You're not allowed to drill for or use well water in the community anymore. And, I think that there's a reason for that. One, I think they control the water usage, because one, there's only so much water in aquifers, especially here in the desert. There's only so much water in the aquifers. And so they have to make sure that people aren't overusing water, first of all. And the ones that are tending to be the ones that overuse water are people that have pools and, I don't know, things like that are not,
Watering lawns.
well, yeah, watering big lawns, but, and farmers. And farmers have to buy their water. They're allotted so much water every year, and they have to pay for that water. So it's all very, very controlled. And then you have the other side of it where, okay, we're going to provide everybody in the community water through the various wells that they have here. And they, have to make sure that it's clean, safe drinking water. They put fluoride in it and chlorinate it or whatever.
Oh, fluoride. No. I don't think we need fluoride. We have lost the skill to filter water. If any like systems go down and something happens to where it's a disaster and we can't get water from our municipal water sources, people just have lost the ability to filter it. Anyway, we're getting off topic, but
But
yeah.
people have lost the ability to grow their own food. I was just talking to
Well,
my friend the other day. Fuck, people don't even know how to, like, you may know how to catch a fish, but do you know what you do with that fish in order to eat it? Like that, you have to clean it.
okay,
Like,
I,
you
I
know how to do
agree,
that
but I have to disagree a little bit here because I think there's a heck of a lot more people that could do that with clean and catching clean a fish and or grow their own food than could actually filter like dirt. Like if they come across a pond and just like could filter that water and make it drinkable. That I think is a much less known skill. Anyway, we're
Well, I
splitting
agree with
hairs,
you on
but
there.
yeah. But okay, let's play. Let's play the game. If you are in the comments and you want to play, keep in mind, all you have to do is, as soon as you see the story pop up on screen, you have to decide who you think it was, which one of us four on screen wrote the story and sent it in. And we have Miss JB in the chat. JB, if you want to come up, you can on screen. And anybody else that want to come up and hang out with us, come on up. You don't have to stay all night. I'm going to do a little dab here in a minute. Okay, so we're going to read stories, and the stories have to do with tonight's topic, and you'll have to decide who you think it was that wrote the story. So we got story number 1. And by the way, if you get the correct answer, we'll get you up on the wheel of destiny.
Wheel of Destiny.
A wheel of door prizes. You'll get extra spots on the door prize. I did want to read through this. We might have to do it a little bit later because there's some really, really good ones. All right, we'll just do that later. Yeah, some good input on the topic there. All right, story number 1. Story number 1. One time when we were kids, my brother stole all my mom's paper food stamps. Paper food stamps. Man, it's been a while since they had a paper food stamp. Have you all had paper food stamp or ever seen paper food stamps at least?
I've
Without
seen
giving away
them.
the story.
I've seen them.
I don't think I've ever seen paper food stamps. All I can think of is like a mailing stamp. Does it look the same with the little jagged edge? Like
No, they
that's all
look
I can
like,
think of.
well, the ones that I've seen, I don't know if they were, oh no, the ones that I've seen, they came in like little booklets, and they look
Oh yeah. Okay.
kind of
Like
like
spelling,
play
like
money.
play money.
Yeah. And they had different denominations, and they were different colors based on the denomination and stuff. And they
Macy?
had like pictures or something printed on them. I can't remember.
Go ahead, Macy. Sorry. I got it.
In books. I remember seeing them in books.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember really single ones. I don't really, unless they ripped them out, but they reminded me of like car loan, like a car loan booklet that you would get, and it's got like the little perforated end that you would just, like, I think that's what they look like,
I
right?
think they have to rip them out. I think they'd have to rip them out.
Yeah, you did.
I just
Yeah,
thought it
Bean
was,
Doggo. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
He just got out of the bathtub. He wears a shirt in the bath. He's real shy with his about his nipples.
There's a blanket. It's freezing out here.
Oh wow, freezing out here.
What are the temps?
I don't know. It's got to be in the 80s.
Like, look, it is funny to joke with you, but I've been in Florida where I was on vacation and thought, oh, it's going to be great. And it was like 3 days of like overcast 60 degrees. Like, what is this in Florida? What is happening? Yeah, there was
People don't believe me. They think I'm just being a punk.
Well,
I mean, I am, but it still gets cold.
2 things can be true at the same time. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm gonna do this dab, but I'm thinking, I'm thinking Kim here, but everyone did say they've seen food stamps in the paper form. My brother, she says brother, or they say brother in this. I know Elisa has a brother. I don't know if Macy has a brother. Actually, maybe I'm wrong about that. Elisa, do you have a brother?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2.
Remember, you don't have to tell me the truth in this part, but yeah, I thought you did.
I think I told you last week anyway.
Yeah,
So.
I thought you did. Yeah. Macy, you have a brother?
I got 2 brothers.
2 brothers? 2? Oh, holy shit! I have 3 brothers. Together we've got
Elisa's story.
Kim. Who you have brothers, Kim?
I have 3 brothers.
Jeez. We've got 10 brothers amongst us. It's insane. That's a lot of brothers. Okay, so it could be any of us. I think it was Bean. By the way, guys, in the comments listening, bean is not an option in the game. But let's see who you think it is in the comments. Who do you guys think it is? Kim is my answer, Alice says. Cheers, everybody. Fire in the hole.
Yeah, I googled what they looked like because I couldn't remember what picture they had on them, and they were called food coupons.
They have to keep changing the name for some reason. Why is that? Food stamps, Snap, EBT, Link. There's
Snap
one more.
they changed it to Snap to take the stigma off of food stamps.
People still
They didn't
call
want
it
it to
food
be
stamps.
called food stamps because it made yeah. It's funny because they did it to take the stigma off of it, and everybody accepts the stigma because everybody's like, I got my food stamps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anybody changed anything?
Well, you know, the thing about vernacular is like it's particular to particular groups. It's just like, you know, what does a woman carry? A purse, a handbag, a pocketbook?
Yeah,
You know?
and also you can't really change vernacular like by force, like by you know what I mean. It's got to be something that's naturally accepted.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I feel about nicknames, and I've never been able to have a nickname.
Yeah,
I've
I'll
never,
give you a
I just,
nickname.
nobody, no, I just never had like a naturally like settled in on nickname.
yeah. I feel like you can't give yourself a nickname either. It's got to be given to you.
Yeah.
Right, and you can't, and to bring it back to the vernacular comment, like you can't really force that either. You know,
Mm-mm.
we like you ever sit around and wonder, man, how did that person come up with that phrase or that cool joke or whatever? And it's like it probably it just happened naturally one time, like just boom, and it just sometime it came out of their mouth, and it was like, I'm keeping that. All right,
Well,
I'm going with
vernacular
Kim.
is a little
Go ahead.
different though. Vernacular is typically is like culturally accepted or uh not necessarily culture. Well, it could be culturally, but like, you know, different groups will have vernacular. So
It's
That'd
a
be a culture.
widely agreed upon,
common language is what it is.
widely agreed upon terms.
Yeah. And it can be regional, it could be, I don't know, it could be generational. Like, sit around and listen to how some of these fucking kids talk now. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? Riz, and the whole thing was 6'7". It's like, I don't know.
Hey, skibbity toilet.
Yeah.
No, those are just like pop culture references, but this is there's a deeper problem with us changing the terminology and changing definitions of things.
It's not changing definitions though. It's
I
just
know, I'm
vernacular.
just
It's the way that everybody's got their way of looking at something, you know, and
I know, but
typically
I'm saying that
regional.
there's a bigger issue with that is the changing of definitions of things, like adding more terms that mean the same thing is different than, and that's a lot of this has been happening lately, changing definitions of what things mean. Um, but back to the topic, like they keep changing it to Bean's point. Oh, we don't want the stigma. Well, how long does it how long does it take for a word to get stigmatized? Because each one of those things, every time they changed it, we started, people, like, the word got around. People knew what that meant
Yeah,
eventually. Like,
Well, it's just like people that had intellectual disabilities, like Down syndrome or something like that, were referred to as mentally retarded. And that's actually a medical term because retardation is lack of growth. You know, in the brain, when it grows like this. And people that had those kinds of disabilities, their brain didn't connect up here. It was at various levels in here, and it didn't fully connect.
I think the
Um,
reason that stigma that came about was because not everybody that got labeled with that term actually fell under that criteria.
Well, what happened was it became popular amongst kids. I don't know, not just
Yeah.
kids that grew into adults, to refer to somebody as being mentally retarded when they weren't. They were using it in a, just like the word gay. There's this thing where kids call things gay. I hate that, because
Well, there's a difference, though. I don't think they ever called each other mentally retarded. I think they just said that. Like, I don't think they added the mentally, like,
well,
to
I know
Right.
they call them retarded, whatever, but
yeah,
it's the same thing. And a lot
yeah.
of parents, because working in the special ed community, you deal with these parents and you hear these things and stuff like that, and it's really heartbreaking because it's like, there are people that do have mental retardation, and it's like equating. I don't know. It's an ugly. It's name
Oh,
calling.
yeah. You say
Okay.
that word around my sister, it doesn't matter how you're using it. She's gonna flip the fuck out.
Look,
Like,
I
I don't
get
like to
that.
use it either. I don't
Go
like
ahead.
to use it either.
Yeah,
Because I don't like that word either.
like I have used it, and it doesn't really feel great to use it, and I don't think I like it either. But I will say that it's weird, this chasing of of like the right word. Okay, well now we're gonna call it special needs, or now we're gonna call it this or this. It doesn't matter what you decide to change it to. Kids are gonna then use that term as an insult to each other. Oh, you're special. How many times do
yeah,
you hear that now? Oh, aren't you just a special one? Like, it's literally like it just, no matter what you decide to go to, it's gonna be.
Yeah, but I feel it's very degrading if you call somebody who actually is handicapped retarded.
Yeah.
well, I mean, that also depends. Like I said, not everybody falls under that umbrella, but some people do. And like Kim said, it is a medical term, and it means like lack of or impeded
Retardation is the
impeded
medical
growth
term.
is
Retardation is the medical term, not
and
retarded. They shortened
Right.
it. They shortened it to make fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's kind of like Jewish, or call someone a Jew. Like that's meant as a more of a derogatory
I, yeah,
versus.
you're getting into semantics at that point.
Yeah, well, you can take a term and make it more like twist it a little bit and make it derogatory in some way. Like I think that's what happened. Yeah, like tardy or tarded, or all those different variations, I guess. All right, we lost Kim, so we kind of need to wait for her to come back to reveal this. But we didn't really vote yet, so I voted for Kim. Elisa, who do you think this was?
Macy.
Had a couple votes for Macy already. Macy, what are you thinking?
Kim.
Kim, okay. Let me go here. We got Little Pecker said Macy. Just say food stamps, John says. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like with the food stamp thing, it's like keep changing it. Is this only on Facebook Live? How do we come up? I pinned the link there, Lil P. It's a Rumble Studios. It's kind of like StreamYard, but it's a different thing. Nickname is Tequila. Diane, I'm gonna start calling you Tequila. I'm running low. Lisa. Okay, Lisa. Diane says Elisa. Lil P says Macy. Only 2 votes on the Facebook side. 12 people in the house. Only 2 votes. Doesn't hurt to vote. Doesn't hurt to vote. Do we see anybody on the Rumble side? Okay, Margaret says Bean.
I'm not in it.
Bean is not in it, Margaret.
Since I'm not in it, I could talk about things I know about food stamps. It's
Yeah.
things that I don't know how food stamps works, honestly, but I remember growing up and I found a stack of EBT cards in my mom's room, and each of them it was a bunch of different ones, and they all had like each of mine and my brother's and sister's names on them. Is that how EBT worked? Like you get one for each of the kids, or is that like did my mom scam the system?
They do come to
get them in each of our names.
they do give
During
them to
COVID,
the
they
kids.
made it like that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't
During
hear.
COVID, they made it like that, where you get one with the kid's name on it.
Yeah, I thought like, did my mom take out like shit in each of our names? Like this feels fraudulent. Like,
Right. No, they did. They did send it to people specifically for their kids. Even had kids on the cards now, as it's a swipe card versus the paper. So Margaret, if you want to change your choice, I hope we can get Kim back. That's it's gonna ruin our game a little bit, but it's still a topic that's got a lot to talk about. So um, I wanted to lump in welfare in general because it's kind of all on the same topic because of what's happening in the government shutdown, the possible loss of food stamps and stuff, and people are pretty upset in both directions. I just think that if you can't look further down the road, if you can't look into the future, like I say maybe 20 years, like we can't keep going the way we're going. You know, the money, like it's been done dried up. We've been running on fumes for a while. Margaret says Macy. Okay, James, how are you, man? Definitely was.
yeah,
Okay, anybody on the Facebook have a guess? We got only had two guesses.
honestly, that's what gets me is if we can't make it through 30 days without panic, like the wells run dry, like something's wrong. Like we should be able to make it through more than 30 days.
Yeah, and a lot
Yeah,
of
but then
people have that.
again, taken from the bottom of the pyramid is not the way we make America great again. You're creating a war here at home. And if people go starving, you're going to cause more chaos, more craziness. And
What do you think's causing this, though?
the working class not getting paid enough to make ends meet to even be able to feed their kids. It causing two people to have to work, and they're stressed and overwhelmed, and they're still not making enough to pay their bills.
Uh,
Everything's sky high.
no, I understand why people might need food stamps, but like the reason that it's being cut off, because you said it's not making America great again to attack the lower class, but I don't think it's an attack on this is at all an attack on the lower class. I think it's being weaponized to get people up in arms and to try to manipulate to get what one side or the other wants.
It's a divide tactic.
Yeah, but I don't think it's coming from
All
the web. Yeah,
welfare and all entitlements are used as a bargaining chip in order to get to shove other things through.
mhm.
Because this comes up
Yeah.
every year. The
If you
same with
weaponize
budget.
the poor,
Uh,
the best thing that they can do is to weaponize the poor, because those are the
right.
people that are going to go out and riot and cause the unrest.
Yeah, you're not gonna see the one percenters out like rioting. They're gonna be pulling other levers that they have available
Yeah.
if they don't like something.
So even if they have planned that they're going to reopen the government and all this stuff, and food stamps don't actually get interrupted, it's like because that's still projected in the future.
Yeah, that's possible.
They could open it tomorrow. You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
it's just being used to get everybody scared. Like I said it the other day when we talked about it that ever since food stamps started, however many years ago, I forget what year it was. We've had, I think, 14 government shutdowns since then. Never once have food stamps been interrupted. It's always been thrown in our faces every single time that you're going to lose your
The
food stamps.
boogeyman, yeah. Hmm.
The old people are going to lose they're going to interrupt social security checks. It's always something that's going to hurt the lower class that they throw in your face and say that here's the scare tactic we're using this time.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's keep it moving though. We definitely could pontificate. We probably will. This is only the first story. So, Kim, you're the last one to vote on this one. Everyone else has voted. Elisa said Macy. Macy says Kim. I say Kim. Kim, who do you think it was?
I think it was Elisa.
Elisa. Okay. All right. JB is in the house with us. Thanks for hanging out, JB. Who does the story belong to?
Lisa.
Elisa May. Okay. Who was that voted earlier? I know one was from Macy. Little P did.
Was it Diane?
Elisa. Someone said Elisa. Diane did. Okay. Diane said Elisa May. Got it. Well, Elisa, tell us about it. So one of your brothers would.
Yep, when we were kids, they used to send them in the mail, and it was the first of the month because everybody really got their stamps on the first of the month in the mail. And my brother and his friend went and stole them and bought a bunch of junk food and ripped the rest up and threw them. And then when they came home from the store, my mom realized our stamps were stolen out of the box, and they had all this junk food. And my mom told the boy's grandma, and his grandma came down there and beat him all the way home. And my mom
Damn.
was out of stamps for the month.
I'd be pissed as a parent for sure.
Yeah.
For the
Boys
whole
are
month.
terrible.
How old was your brother?
He's probably like 10.
What a shit.
Yeah.
Okay,
He
so
probably just
yeah.
wanted some candy and some snacks. He didn't realize he was fucking up our food for the month. Or
Yeah.
he didn't care. He just wanted some snacks.
Right. Didn't understand money yet at the time. How old was he, you said?
He's probably only 10.
All right, so Kim gets one right. And Bean, you can vote still on screen if you want. Little P, if you're still
Yeah.
here, man, come and try to find us. Trying to figure out the Rumble Studios.
I was muted, but right before she said the answer, I guessed you.
Oh, okay. That would have been a good guess because early on I was going, "What's a paper food stamp look like?" You know, because I actually did forget that they come in like a bundle, like a booklet. All right, here we go. Story number 2. I used to buy 3-cent gum so I could get the change. Being, if you could mute yourself, bro. Got a little
My bad,
twitchy
I
action going on.
hit the wrong button.
I kind of thought so. I was like, you don't need to mute the camera, but if you could mute but yeah. Okay, so you can get the change. Okay, because that's how you could get the remainder in cash. 3-cent gum. This sounds like Bean's story, but it's not his.
Yeah, because like the lowest denomination I think that there was $1.
Didn't I tell that story on here that I don't know how to chew gum?
I think I've heard that. I think I've heard that story before.
How do you not know how to chew gum?
Yeah, we had a whole episode on gum, bubble gum.
It doesn't work. It doesn't turn into like a wad for me. It just breaks up into chunks and stuff. I don't know. I don't know how to do
Just dissolves. That's
What's
funny.
wrong with you, Bean?
That is funny because there's really nothing else you can compare it to say, well, it's kind of like doing that, you know. You can't. There's nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, so first story was Elisa. Elisa, what do you think? You think this was
I think it's
3-cent gum?
Macy's, but I do remember doing this when I was a kid too.
You remember
But it
3-cent
wasn't 3-cent
gum?
gum. I think when I did it, you had to buy at least 50 cents when
Waylon, you don't remember like penny candy stores? You didn't have that around you?
Yeah.
I never had any candy that was pennies, like maybe
Dude, we had a whole
nickels.
store that every
Penny.
you had almost everything in the store was a penny a piece, and then they had like the stuff that was for like a nickel or something like that. But and you know what I mean. But
Huh.
the good old days.
I remember the term, but I don't remember. I remember when a dime bag cost a dime. I don't remember that those days, uh, but yeah, I do
You,
remember once when
so
I
you know
got
how much?
gas for. Go ahead.
I was just gonna continue your joke. Do you know
Uh,
how much a condom costs? I don't know. We didn't use them.
they were much cheaper back then. Why? Because we didn't use them. Yeah. Okay. I don't remember where that came from though. What that actually? Okay. I'm gonna say, man, I want to say Kim again on this. Did you ever see penny candy, Elisa May?
Yeah. Right up
Ma-
from the school. All the different colored Tootsie Rolls were a penny. You could get 100 of them for $1.
Oh wow, Macy, you remember the cheap candy like that? Macy's frozen.
Oh, yeah.
I got a
Blue,
sweet tooth, so that was like heaven on earth for me.
just like hard candies, or could you get chocolate with that or
I don't do any. I like gummy stuff and
gummies?
sour stuff. I don't do hard candy or chocolate really.
Hmm.
I don't like hard candy either.
I'm not big on any of that. I like I mean, I'll eat like okay. So if my son's Halloween candy's sitting in front of me, I'm probably gonna go for like a Snickers in there if there is one. Macy,
Once in
did
a
you ever
blue
see
moon.
the penny candies?
No. 5 cents, 7.
Nickel candies, yeah.
The single Tootsie Rolls used to be like 5 or 7 cents,
Hmm.
I think.
So we got Brenda says Elisa May, Margaret says Kim, Alice says Kim. Elisa did admit to knowing of the penny candies.
Didn't they have like the little gums, the little like Hubba Bubba or Double Bubble Gum or whatever it's called, or Bazooka Gum? It's like little ones.
Mm-hmm. But they're like 5 cents.
Yeah, those were. Ooh.
Juicy fruit used to be 10 cents a pack. And that was like a big thing, and it went up to a quarter.
They had
Oh
these
yeah.
little, like they were like three little square hard gums called chiclets or something like that.
Secrets. Yeah, you put the white ones in the front of your teeth, make it look like you got buck teeth.
I remember that.
Can't say I ever did that.
So we got Colin Smith. What's up, Colin? He says
That must be a bean thing.
he says so in Virginia they will still get SNAP benefits on the 3rd. So some states do have their own
No, what they're
money
doing
fund.
is some of the states are dipping into their budget. Like my state is dipping into its budget. They're
Their emergency
That's
budget.
okay.
they're
Yeah.
going to give out, I think it was roughly 30% of whatever a person earns for food stamps. They're going to give them 30% of that.
Some states are speculated to do that only because they're worried that Donald Trump is going to do that at the last minute, and they don't want him to look good. And they're like, we're going to go ahead and dip into our coffers.
I don't think
Of
it's
course they're gonna do it. Of course the Fed's gonna do it.
Yeah, a lot of people don't believe it's actually going to actually be defaulted. Some people believe it should be.
You know what I don't get is how they can do that, because that's a law that was enacted by a law in the 1960s.
Do you think food is
What?
a right? Do you think
The
it's a
Food Stamp Act or whatever it's called, whatever the act is, it's legislation.
you can't legislate funds to be there when they've been squandered and
Yeah, the
diluted for
They do
many
it with
years.
Social Security.
Yeah, and that's going to crash too.
I'm just saying, I don't
but
know
if the
how.
bucket's empty, there's nothing more to give, like whether it's a law or not.
It's not a
Yeah.
matter of the bucket being empty. The money's there. They're not releasing those funds.
They're making the money. They're literally printing more money than is actually
You
real.
don't understand the system that we're under. Go study
I
that.
Huh?
thought the
Like,
case
we're
was
not
that
printing money.
What Dean?
I thought that the case was that the states are running out of their budget, and like they're having to tap into the reserves, because I understand that the federal government's not releasing the money to the states because the shutdown, but
They're not releasing. So, did you not hear when Donald Trump said he was mad because the Senate will not pass the CR and that effectively shut the government down? And Donald Trump was mad and he said, "I'm going to go after the Democrat programs." He said that. I heard him say it. So it wasn't a contrived thing. It was on
yeah.
news, dude. So it was not like some manipulated thing. It
But
was
that's up for translation. Did he say exactly what Democrat programs or?
no. He just said he was going to go after the Democrat programs, and so
Yeah, but I mean, in a conservative's eyes, the Democrats' programs are the things that are like the social justice things, or sending money to all these different countries for
well,
condoms and whatnot.
it's their pet whatever. I don't know. I don't know what all but food stamps is one of them. So welfare benefits. Like I
Yeah.
don't know that much about welfare benefits. I know a little bit about food stamps. The
Okay, well,
Medicaid program. I don't know. I don't know that much about that either. But I know what I heard him say.
back to me not knowing how the government works or whatever it is you said. You're
I
going
didn't
to
say
disagree. You
You
said
don't
something
under-
to
I
that
don't
effect.
think you
What did you say?
understand. You do. I don't think you understand the current economic system that we're under. We're not under the gold standard, and we haven't been under the gold
I
standard
didn't say we were.
for a long, long time. So it's a whole different ball of wax.
Well,
Well,
who brought up the gold
that's why I say
standard?
we're printing money. We're
They
printing
are
money
printing
because
money.
that's because it's all fiat currency. We're not on the gold standard anymore. So
Yeah,
that
that's why
goes
we can
into
print money.
supply and demand. So the more supply, the less the value each dollar has.
Right. So it's a whole different thing. So it's like how money is printed, but it's like you make it sound like it's a simple thing and just let's manufacture some money, and it doesn't work like that. You can't.
That's what they're doing.
Well, yeah,
What do you
that
mean it
is what
doesn't
they're
work
doing,
like
but
that?
it's devaluing
It
every
does
other
work
dollar
like
that already.
that.
Yeah, it devalues every other dollar that already exists. They are doing it. I mean, it's
Yeah,
obvious that they're doing it. They didn't come up with $3 trillion during the pandemic out of nowhere.
And everybody's doing it. Nobody's on the gold standard anymore, dude.
Yeah.
So it's a whole system. It's very complex.
it has nothing to
I
do
think
with the
I
gold
think
standard.
that was
I don't
the
want
point
to
at
get
the
into
beginning,
it.
though.
I'm gonna get frustrated because you guys are sitting here making claims about things, and I don't feel like you fully understand the whole thing. It's very complex.
I'm making one claim, and that is the government is printing more money than we have anything to back it up, which we would
And
be the.
we've been doing that, and every country in the world has been doing that for a very long time.
Okay, so
Nobody,
so we agree. Okay,
nobody has been on a gold standard, and it's
what
a
does the gold
very
standard have to do with it? Whatever standard
because
you're on,
gold
we're on the
standard
petrodollar. We're on the petrodollar, correct?
standard used to be what we
Yeah, that has
got
nothing to
our
do with
money
what I'm
with.
talking about.
But
I'm
we
talking
haven't
about
been on that for a long time.
right. What are we on now?
I don't know what it's
The
called.
petrodollar. I don't
But
think
either
you
way,
know enough about.
no matter what the standard is, it's still supply and demand.
Right.
You have more of the currency is worth less.
Yeah, too much. Like you have to
I
have
don't know,
something
but
backing it up.
it's very complex. It's a
I
very
pretty much
complex
explained it.
system.
We have it backed by the oil, by a petrodollar, it's called, and if it's and we have only so much of that, and they are making more than they can back up, which makes it dilute makes our dollar worth less. Is my point. Okay, moving on. Let's see whose story this is. Let's see what everybody guess here.
I
Elisa, who did you say? I
didn't
don't.
guess.
I don't think any of us did yet. So I'm gonna go around the room here. Elisa, what did you think?
Well, I said Macy, but I wouldn't change it to Kim now that you don't even know.
Okay,
So I'm
well,
saying
keep that part of it in your head. I'm just kidding. Okay, so go ahead and Kim. Elisa wants to go with Kim. Kim, who do you think?
I was initially going to say Elisa, but now I don't know because, like,
3-cent gum. Like that seems like it was because you guys are saying there was penny candy, but gum was usually 5 cents. That sounds like it was even earlier.
well, I remember when my son was little, because we would go like into like Circle K or one of those places, and they would have right under the register they would have this wire basket looking thing, like a wire shelf looking thing, and it had a bunch of penny candy in there.
Good point, Alice.
So, and that would have been, I don't know how Macy is. Macy looks like she's probably within your generation, so like late 30s to early 40s. So feasibly, it could have been any of the three of you.
I think it was you, Kim.
You think it was me? You're going to be surprised.
Why would I be surprised?
You'll find out.
I think it was Elisa.
Oh, I think it was Elisa too. For some reason, I think it was Elisa.
Macy's pretty
Elisa,
quiet.
Elisa understood how irresponsible her brothers were, and she was a little more responsible and went and cashed in and got them change for her parents.
Well, initially I was going to say it was Macy, and then I thought, no, I don't think it's Macy. I think it's Elisa. But now
Macy says Elisa too.
I used to do that for myself. You'd get 50 cents each time you can go to the swimming pool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She was saying 50 cents though, so that doesn't sound like.
Well, yeah, they started making you buy at least 50 cents worth because people kept coming in the same store trying to get 10-cent candy and go home with the change.
Yeah.
Macy is being pretty quiet about this one though. She picks Elisa. I want to pick.
You already picked me, fool. You already said me. You're already in there, buddy.
Yeah. Where are you driving to?
To a bar.
Oh,
Who's that?
to the bar.
It's an open mic night, and my daughter-in-law is a singer. So
Oh, nice.
we'll see what she's got up there.
Yeah, I don't remember that. Brenda says, yeah, go buy some stuff, get the change, collect what you need. Yeah. Or what I needed. Okay, well, man. I picked Kim. We're going to see what's up. Bean, who do you think?
I said Elisa.
Okay, Kim, or who did you say? You weren't sure still?
I'm going to go with Elisa. It's either... Yeah, I'm going to go with Elisa.
A lot of Elisa picks. Okay, here we go. JB, whose story does this belong to?
Yes, Macy.
Oh, I thought of it. Oh.
That was who I initially was going to go with, and then like Elisa said some things, and I was like, she knows a lot about that. So I don't know.
When they were talking about the paper food stamps, didn't you say that you've never seen them?
I did.
No, I said books.
Damn. That was the only reason I didn't pick you. I thought you said that.
I said the books look like car loan payment books.
Yeah.
Hey, Kyle. What's up, everybody? Let's see who's awake out in the comments there. Let's see a hashtag PITB. Okay. So, did anybody get this one right? Pretty sure Diane said Kim. Kyle says Bean, but I think maybe he was saying hi.
Yo.
Kim. A lot of Kim guesses. I thought for sure it was going to be Kim. All right.
Hey,
Nobody
Kim,
got
I'm
that one right.
45.
What's that?
I told Kim I was 45.
45. It's still alive. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
All right.
See, I told you were going to be surprised.
The way you said that, I believed it, but then I was like, she could be bullshitting me, but it's okay. Story number 3. Several DMV workers were busted and set up for selling fake credentials to illegals and others.
Is this just a current event story?
No, but it is a current event, so I guess there's a crossover there for sure.
What is DMV? Is that, what is that?
Department of
Come
Motor
on.
Vehicles.
All right.
Oh, DMV.
It sounds like you're playing the game here, Kim. You don't know what the DMV is?
Okay.
Uh,
Oh, no, here it's MVD.
that sounds
Motor
like
Vehicle Department.
sounds like something you got from a night out with Brenda right away says Kim. No, it's Waylon. Okay.
Yeah, that was a quick deflect.
That was what?
For me?
No, Kim. Quick
Yeah.
deflection. What's
Driver.
the DMV?
Well, I know, well, here it's called the MVD, Motor Vehicle Department. Like if you like Google it, like if you want to get your like online, pay for your plates online or whatever, it's MVD.
Everything's just different over there, isn't it, Kim?
I guess. I don't know. Everybody's got
I'm pretty
their
sure the DMV is like almost like every other state that I don't know. I guess I'm not that learned on it. But I mean, they use that term in movies and stuff, like where they're trying, it's like
Yeah, comedians talk about it all the time.
yeah. Okay, well, right away that makes me think Kim. But I don't think she would. But I know this won't be Kim because this seems like something that is poking some variable holes in the idea that illegals are not getting benefits or are not getting different programs and things like that. They're just maybe not getting them in the ways that would be straightforward and obvious. Okay, now everyone's going to pick me. Margaret says me. Scott Burns, hello.
What do you mean they're not getting them? What did you mean by that?
Like somebody might say, a Democrat may say, illegal aliens aren't getting driver's licenses. It's illegal. That's not something that can happen. And then you'll find stories like this where DMV workers are busted selling fake credentials in order to give illegals things like driver's licenses and other things, voter IDs.
They got a big problem out in California right now because they started issuing no-name IDs to workers. You can
No-name IDs.
Yeah.
So that's the problem with this. The whole argument that illegals aren't getting medical benefits, it's like they are. They're just not getting them. They're not going, hello, I'd like to sign up for my medical benefits. Like that's not how it happens. That's not how it works.
But don't you? Let me ask a question because they passed that Real ID thing. You guys have that in your state, right? We have it here, and I'm pretty sure.
I think they did it. That's nationwide.
Huh?
That's nationwide, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it was a federal thing. But so I don't know, but wouldn't you have to have like a real ID to be able to? I mean, what's the deal with that?
It was the no-name ID was that's for undocumented workers to drive vehicles on the road. So
right, and we have that here too. It's not called a no-name ID, but it's like it's different, and I don't know how it's different because I don't have any experience with it.
And I'm sure that's just the term that I've heard. It's probably not actually called that. Like that's just what they called it in the
But
Sure,
source.
that was
how would
the
an illegal, how is somebody that's not here? Because the only people, the only kind of people that are eligible to get aid are legally are people that have green cards. And I think there's stipulations with that. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at it.
what aid?
Well, no, I'm pretty sure during Biden's term they passed that thing where if you come in and you claim asylum, that you get an like a pretty much a care package, which comes with like food stamps, benefits, and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't know that much about that. I never dealt with people.
It's an unfortunate loophole that they found. And they thought, hey, look, you're not going to find someone that isn't like sympathetic to a person who's coming from a war-torn country or whatever. But now it's being sort of bastardized and exploited in order to find loopholes for people to get in and say, look, if you just tell them that you're here for asylum, you're golden, like you can get in. This is the same conversation as with the SNAP benefits. If you just tell them this, and this about your income and get through the paperwork, you're golden. You're going to get $400 a month or whatever. Dean, what?
I don't remember. It was something before that. Good.
My bad. Yeah, it's a similar conversation. It's just anywhere that people are gaming the system in such a way that it's causing, the hurt for the rest of us. People are so worried about like, oh, but the starving children. Well, look, there are children starving now. Can we figure out how to fix some of these things? You know what I mean? And I think I think people are coming at it from a compassionate point of view from both directions. It's just that people that have opposing ideologies will have a natural difference in the outcome that they imagine, and therefore we want to argue about it as if either side is not being either compassionate or not thinking ahead or whatever the case may be. Anyway, rambling. So who do I think this is? It's either Macy or Lisa. I don't think this is Kim. We just had another Macy story, but that doesn't mean anything. Got 2 votes for me already.
I think it's you, Waylon.
Scott Burns in the house says, I read that California was giving driver's licenses without social security numbers. Yeah, I've seen that. It's in for the state.
That's so workers can drive on the roads. Like I said, they're claiming asylum. They don't got their green card. They don't got paperwork. But they got to get to work once they get here. So they give them a license. In certain states, they give them a license without any real documentation. And the problem is they're not used to driving on these roads. And they're used to their driving patterns back home, and they're causing a lot of accidents.
Yeah. If you've ever driven to Mexico, it's scary as hell. I won't drive over there. It's like, fuck that shit. Those people and if you get in an accident over there, they're going to make it your fault, whether it's your fault or not. So it's like, I ain't driving over there. Nope. And you got to have special insurance to drive over there, too. A lot of people.
Oh, yeah. I can't imagine. I drove in Iraq, and like basically you had to just drive down the center of the road. A whole nother story, I guess. But man, it was kind of insane to have to, if you saw traffic coming towards you, there were different times where they changed the rules up. But if you saw traffic coming towards you, you would literally pull over into their lane and play chicken with their asses until they would get off the road. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. You would just pull over, just drive straight at them until they left.
Driving in
that's because you're driving a military vehicle, right?
And with a convoy and everything, yeah.
Y'all are just playing games with them.
No, we weren't just having fun. No, it was like, you cannot be near us, go away. Anyway, so I'm going to say I don't know. I want to hear what Kim thinks. Kim, who do you think it was?
I think it was you.
Everyone's picking me. Alice says Elisa. Scott, who do you think it was? Out of everyone except Bean on the screen here, I'm gonna pick Elisa May. She's being kind of quiet over there. Macy's been trying to talk, but it's hard to hear her with the audio. Macy, what do you think? Who do you think it was?
I'm going for you. I do.
No, Macy. This is the game, though. But the game. Who do you think?
Let's talk about it.
Smooth.
Ah, damn. Just didn't go for it. Didn't take the bait. All right, going for me. 2 going for me. Elisa, who do you think?
I think it's you too.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's funny that it says busted right under your picture. Well, from my point of view, anyway, the thing's in the middle of the screen.
Are you implying something here, Bean? Bean, who do you think it is?
I think it was you.
Wow. Jeez. Macy, what? Did you say something? Okay. Well, I don't see anybody else's guesses. Scott says just because I read it doesn't make it fact. Yeah, that's true. I'm not sure what game we're playing. I already lost at strip poker tonight.
Who said that?
Scott Burns
Uh-huh.
Glass. Scott, basically we're playing a game called Story Boxes. The story that's on the screen right now belongs to one of us that's on the screen, except for Bean and Jessica, which is hard to point out unless you know who they are. So, yeah. So there's 4 options. Myself, Elisa May, Kim Axtell, and Macy Buds are the options on whose story this belongs to. Now we've picked I think we've all picked. So, JB, what do you think? Who's this story belong to?
I think it was Kim.
It was Kim.
Wow.
Bum, bum, bum.
Surprise!
Kim was really trying to play the game on that one.
Yeah.
Quietly
Oh,
pushed
shit.
everybody towards you.
No, actually, well, there was a landslide towards me landslide of 2 people in the comments before Kim even guessed. So it was like everyone wanted to go for me already. Diane said me too. Jeez. So I thought for sure this wasn't Kim because it looks like it's kind of opposite of what Kim believes. So, Kim, let's hear about it. What story
How
is
is
this?
it opposite of what Kim believes?
I'm pretty sure you would. I would have said before this that you would be one person that would immediately say that illegal people who are here illegally in this country are not receiving benefits such as DMV benefits or anything like that, medical benefits and stuff. So I just would not have thought you would have known about this story. So I'm pleasantly surprised. It's neither here nor there. Let's hear about it.
You think you know me. You don't.
Well, I'm being honest about what I would have thought.
What's the DMV?
Right, what's the DMV? Like that should have been the main one. But I imagine that they do have some probably weird things that are named differently down there. So I didn't.
It's MV Motor Vehicle Department, MVD.
She got me on that one. Well, Kim, tell us about it. When did you hear about this?
So it happened like right here in my area. That's how I knew about it. I don't know how widespread it is, but they busted like about 10 years ago or so. They busted a ring of them, and it wasn't just like one place. It was like several places in the county, and I think up in the northern part too. There were like 5 people that got busted for it. And you get a credential, you get a driver's license. You know what it takes to go in and get a driver's license. But they were giving them to these illegals. They were selling them to these illegals, and so that they could I don't know, get their citizenship, or I don't know what the hell they were exactly what all they were doing with
But
it.
so they don't need to get their citizenship. They could just go work under this identity and live
Yeah.
as this person.
You can
Well,
tie a lot of things to that once you've got something official like that. Then
yeah.
you can add things to it that make yourself look more and more official.
Yeah, because I want to say that they were even getting them birth certificates, and I don't know how they were doing that because that comes from a whole different thing than what, but it was a ring, and they all went to prison for it. It was a big
Well,
deal.
just think of like a fake ID or a fake a passport. There's people with the right amount of money, and just like a lot of movies, you see like the criminal goes to the guy who, I need a whole new ID identification, or I'm going under. Gonna need to change my ID, and they can do that. Now I'm not saying that's probably not for your average person that's coming here illegally, but it can be done. That's for sure.
As
Yeah.
long as
What's
you
up,
have a
Ronaldo?
couple of pieces of documentation, you can order a social security card and birth certificate under anybody's name, as long as you have the right credentials to do so. So that they can get you an ID and what is it, 2 forms of mail to go get a copy of your social security card. Then you use your ID and your social security card to get your birth certificate.
Yeah, yeah, that was scandalous. I was like, oh my God. Like, people do things illegally, and it's not only illegals that do that. I remember when I was younger, like when I was a kid, it was a big deal to get a fake state ID so that you could get into bars and stuff when you were underage. That shit was going on.
Yeah,
I don't know if
back
it's,
before they were able to scan them.
hmm I don't know. I don't know if people are able to do that anymore. I don't keep track of that shit anymore, but I know when I was younger, it was a big deal. So people were getting fake IDs for the wrong purposes, even back in those days. So I don't know. It's not exclusive to, illegal aliens. It's anybody that wants an ID or whatever for whatever purpose. But I know that this one was like associated with illegal aliens or undocumented people or whatever. And I don't know if it was like, I suspect that the people that were probably doing it were probably like drug cartel.
Yeah,
We have bad
but yeah,
cartel in this area because we're so close to the border. So drug
just
cartel.
find a couple of people that work there and threaten them with something they can't refuse.
I
They're
don't
doing
think
that
they were
with other
threatening them. I
things.
think these guys were making big money. I think that's how they got popped.
Yeah, but that can be the same. Like one, that can be the same act though, Kim. Like they can say, if you don't do this, we're going to hurt your family. But when the person that accepts that and goes ahead and does whatever the thing they want you to do, they will also pay you a bunch of money too, because then that's blackmail on the other end to say, look, they took all these payments, they were most certainly in on it. And I can tell you that from pharmaceuticals, I saw the story of these uh, pharmacies and small like drugstores and stuff all over Mexico that are being forced to take, or actually all over. I think it was in America on the near the border, being basically strong armed like that to be forced to take these like fake drugs that are made to look like real drugs, and then they're paying them anyway, but they're paying them in order to like keep them under the thumb. If that makes sense. I'm not. I
That's
guess.
happening down in Mexico. And the other thing that's happening down there, that's why it's scary. Like, people have used Mexico, like, people that live on the border will go down to these border cities like Juarez and Palomas and stuff, probably down in the Baja and whatnot. But, and they would go down and they would buy drugs. I mean, I've bought drugs down there, not like illicit drugs. You can't buy controlled drugs and bring them back over the border legally, but like amoxicillin or, whatever. stuff that's not controlled substances, and you can bring it back over the border. But one of the things that they have been cautioning people about the last probably at least 5 years, maybe 6, 7 years, is one of the things that the cartels are doing is that they're infiltrating the pharmaceutical companies that are manufacturing these medications, and they're using them for fentanyl. So a lot of these drugs have fentanyl, or potentially have fentanyl in them, because the fentanyl is being manufactured in the laboratories down there, and so there's cross contamination and stuff like that. So
I
there's a
believe
lot of
it.
crazy shit that's going on down there with that stuff.
All right, number 17 was our last
In,
winner this week. Kim.
in this instance, it wasn't. Nobody was strong arming these people. It was bribery, it was greed. It wasn't even bribery. It was greed. They were making big money for doing this.
Yeah,
Shit.
the cartels, they're smart people. They'll find a way to make some money, and the ways that they find to get people, their documentation is crazy. Like, I remember one from like 10 years ago that there was like a bunch of funeral homes down in Texas that when people would die, and it was not a funeral home, it was a mortuary, whatever, mortuary or whatever that word is. If people would die and they were like John Doe's and stuff and nobody would claim them, they would never write up a death certificate, and they'd sell that identity to people. And that was happening a lot. Like, it was like 10 years ago that they busted a bunch of them for that.
That's terrible. Yeah, people.
All right.
People are fucking greedy, like, and opportunistic.
Okay, next story. Story number 4. I received SNAP benefits that I didn't apply for.
We eating good today.
Is that like when the delivery guy comes to your house by accident? Yeah, that's my pizza. It's paid for.
I think you have to pay up front for pizza now, don't you? When you order it delivered?
Cash is king. I don't know. I feel like cash could still be.
Yeah, you can still use cash.
Can you?
Or if you're Macy, you just go pick it up. Pick it up while you give rides to. Could do like a DoorDash and what's the one, Uber combined? Uber Eats and Uber. You can combine the two, and then you can be driving people around, dropping them off with the food. Hey, take this up to apartment 103 when you go up there. Thanks. Let them out. Well, I don't know. SNAP is that's like food stamps, right?
Yeah, it's the replacement, I think, for food stamps.
I have a Link card. Link. I don't know what that stands for, but it's something similar. Elisa, you're pretty quiet here. Have you ever received benefits that you didn't apply for?
I don't think so.
Don't think so, she says. Macy, what do you think? You ever had SNAP benefits?
Yeah, I have.
Not that she applied for.
I don't even like sports.
Beat me
Nice.
to it.
I'm gonna say it was Elisa, though. I'm not gonna say it was me.
You're not going to say it was you? Okay. She's going straight after Elisa. Okay, that makes Macy seem a little guilty. Kim hasn't said much at all. Kim, have you ever had Snap?
I have it right now because I'm unemployed.
Do you remember applying for it?
I sure do.
You should just mute yourself, damn it, Bean. Get that shit out over there. I need you to stop at Ray's house and pick up the package. Chris. Margaret says me. Okay, let's see some guesses in the comments, guys. 29 people here. Little Pecker, what's up? Link was the character in Zelda. Little P, come on up, man. Are you on a phone? Tell me if you're on just a phone. I can explain how to get up. I mean, that'll be a private conversation. You know what I mean? Okay. Kim or Macy. I feel like my instinct says Macy. Alice says me. Everyone's gonna pick me. Kim, who do you think it was?
Probably Macy.
Did you say Basie?
Macy.
Basie. I think Macy too.
I'll say Waylon.
Kim usually, I think Kim's tale is usually talking more. She talks less. I think she just doesn't know about that one. She's like, Elisa says me.
It's either
Macy.
you or Macy, but I think it's, I don't know, I think it's Macy.
Macy, did you say Elisa?
Yeah.
Bean, what did you say?
I'm just playing the numbers game. I'm gonna say you, Waylon. There hasn't been any of your stories yet, right?
I don't think so, but this is only story number 4, and there's
Yeah.
4 of us.
I had one of each of theirs. I'm just going with the numbers. I'm gonna say
Who
you.
I don't really pay attention to that part of it. Who had 2 stories already? Somebody must have had 2 stories. No, this is number 4 now.
No, we each had one but you.
Well, they're not mixed up like that. They're randomized, but
Mhm.
it could be me. Could be me. Ronaldo says me. Diane says Macy. That's what I'm thinking, Diane. Kim says Macy. I think that's all of us on screen. And Bean says me as well. Little Pecker says Kim. I was thinking about Kim as well, but Kim's usually more talkative when it's hers. That's what I've seen. All right, JB. All the guesses are in. Whose story is this?
It would be yours. Waylon.
It's a mine. It's a mine. It's a mine story.
How
Yeah.
the hell did you get benefits that you didn't apply for?
Right?
I got kids. Yeah, they sent out extra. They sent out a whole extra card. I already had my own card. They sent out a whole
Oh.
other card with his name on it, with all these extra benefits. It was some kind of,
Was that during the
Whatever.
pandemic?
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah, you
Yeah.
remember that, Elisa? It was like they sent me extra. And I'm like, okay, but so there's so many aspects to this, and if you're somebody who is thinking about it more on the sympathetic side, I guess, or compassionate side, you're gonna immediately think about those people out there who really, really need it. But then if you're thinking about things a little bit more on the, I want to say, pragmatic, or on the fiscally responsible side, you're going to look at things like this where you think, well, I know even happened to me where they were shoveling me benefits that I wasn't asking for,
Oh,
and I know for a fact that oh man, I should have made this one of my stories, but I didn't. Okay, I guess this doesn't really necessarily connect, but kind of like when they created it was after they created Obamacare, but it was like a year or two later. They took all medical patients in the VA system, the veterans system, and put them into Medicare or Medicaid. I can't remember which one it goes under. And basically, by default, put us into the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. They put us into it, and it was literally just so they could pump up the number of people who needed the program. Who look at all these people that we're helping. And so they do this a lot of times with these programs in order to make them too big in order to be taken down. And then you have an entitlement. You have a whole other group of people that can be manipulated by, putting your finger on that program. And so this is just another one of those situations where they want to give you extra more than you ask for so that you can, you're forced to come back. It's kind of like with kids. It's just it's bribery. The classic don't take candy from a stranger. Well, the government's not necessarily our well-known neighbor. You know what I mean? All right, we got a lot of. Who else said me on here? Bean said me. So I'm gonna put Bean on. Elisa, who did you say it was?
You.
You did, okay. So you got 2 points. Macy, who did you say?
Didn't I say Lisa?
I don't remember, but yeah, okay, I think so. Kim said Macy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I fooled 2 of you. Finally got 2 points on the board, finally. And we got at least a couple people. Margaret and Alice. Ronaldo. Give up pup some care. I'll see you guys later. All right. See you later, Chris. Yeah, we got about 10 minutes left anyway, so maybe time for one more story. But yeah, I received a whole nother, for like a few months there, I was getting this whole other amount of money on another card. And I just received some kind of letter in the mail recently saying that they were adjusting something or changing something. And from what it looked like, and I haven't went to check, you have to call a number or whatever, I think it says I have $16 on there. So I have this little card somewhere with $16 on it. I'm like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to find that or not. All right, this will be our last story tonight, I guess. Here we go. Story number 5. Been around many undocumented immigrants, and they did qualify for food stamps, Medicaid, or welfare. What is this, Kim? Are you misdirecting me again on this story, trying to say some shit that I would not expect you to say? Because I know this first part I know is for sure it could be you, because I know you've been around a bunch of, you've talked about it before, a lot of immigrants and undocumented probably.
Was this a typo?
Yeah, maybe it was supposed to be didn't. JB, you sure this was? You remember? She's looking like, I don't know. Did you? this is supposed to say did, right?
It's a mystery.
Do you think they qualify? Do you think there are situations where undocumented immigrants qualify for food stamps, Kim? The way it's written, it looks like the person is saying legitimately qualify, like legally.
In my experiences, I have never heard of an undocumented family, at least Well, there could have been like when I was a kid. I don't know. I didn't pay attention to that shit when I didn't know anything about that shit when I was a kid. But in my working career, no, I don't even want to say that. Well, yeah, in my working career, I've never known of an illegal or an undocumented person or whatever you want to call them being eligible for food stamps. I know that they haven't been. I know that they haven't. I've never heard of it in the last, at least since I've been in this district. And I'm pretty sure, like when I used to work at Gadsden, which is even closer to the border, like literally, like they're almost like within a quarter of a mile of the border. There was a family that this kid that I worked with in one of my classes, he didn't have a jacket one day and it was like 16 degrees outside. It was cold. He had a button down short sleeve summer shirt on and he was cold, and I asked him where his jacket was and he didn't have one. So I went up to a social worker and I said, he doesn't have a jacket and it's cold. What can we do to get him a jacket? And the mom was illegal. I don't know if the kids were or not, but I know the mom was illegal. And we were trying to get them some kind of assistance to get the gas turned on in the home that they were living in, and we couldn't. And I suspect that they didn't get any kind of assistance. I don't know that for a fact, but I do know that I've worked with some kids that their parents were, or that they were there illegally, even the kids were. And we worked to get the kids a green card, but we couldn't get the mom a green card. And she could not. The kids could not get any federal assistance. The kids could not none of them could get federal assistance, but when the kids got their green card, then the kids could get certain things. I don't know what all they could get. I don't know if it was the full array of like TANF and food
All
stamps
right.
and Medicaid, but
Kim is talking a lot this time. This has got to be Kim.
it says
gotta
they
be Kim.
did qualify.
Yeah, Kim's over here playing the game.
I'm just saying, you
Playing
asked
the
me the
game.
question and I'm trying to answer it.
And as you kept saying, where you're like, I haven't seen it since I worked at this district.
Yeah, you say,
So,
oh, maybe
Well,
when I was a kid, or
because I worked in California. But out in California, where I was at in California, I worked in Northern California, and I didn't work with anybody. I don't know that any of my students there were illegal or undocumented or whatever.
Lisa May, you know any quote undocumented immigrants?
Nope, not really. That qualified for food stamps or welfare. Probably Kim.
Yeah, Macy. Do you ever go to Home Depot?
How do you know about Home Depot, Waylon?
I go every day.
It's just a classic spot, if you want to go and pick up a friend to help you work for the day.
Oh, how do you know? Have you been picking up undocumented workers?
Yeah, I usually take them down to the food stamp building. Give them a ride.
Yeah.
Take them into the Medicare facility. Have them
Medicare
fill out.
facility.
Yeah, well, Medicare or welfare, whatever facility. All right. Any other guesses? Diane says Kim. I'm gonna say Kim on this. I'm gonna say Kim. Kim, who did
Waylon.
you're gonna say me? Okay, a few guesses for me already. Only one guess for me. Bean, who do you think? Alice says Kim. Diane says Kim. Margaret says Waylon. Bean. is still
I don't know.
thinking. Not sure. Elisa's playing the game pretty good. She keeps a pretty good straight face. Macy doesn't even know what's going on. She's got Batman trick or treating over there in the van.
I think it's Kim.
I think it's
Waylon
good.
wants to know if you got a Snickers bar.
I just think based on location, it's Kim.
I mean, that's a huge
You
tip.
got all kind of illegals that come through Cuba. I mean, through Florida. You guys,
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
but he's not in the game,
If I was
though.
in the game, it might be me, but
you guys
but
got
they're all up in Illinois.
from
We're all up in Illinois, but I will say that I'm sure there are undocumented immigrants here. That's a good point, though, being I think a much higher volume maybe is what would be assumed, at least where Kim lives. What gets me with it is that I am pretty sure myself and Kim are the only two up here that would even want to get into politics, and this is clearly. I mean, when you start talking about undocumented immigrants, you're talking politics. Kim just lit up like a Christmas tree. You're totally, yeah. I think we've all guessed. So let's hear it. Let's hear it, JB. Whose story was this?
It was Kim.
Yes.
And it was a typo. I was like,
It was a typo.
I was like, oh my God, you did that because it was funny. You gave it away for sure.
That is funny.
Yeah, I didn't think anybody would make that affirmative statement. It sounded like a typo right away.
Yeah, it was. I was
Like what? Wait, what would you think it was supposed to be? It was supposed to have said.
They
They
did
did.
not
They did.
qualify
I see.
because,
My mom used to pick up tomato pickers in Chicago, Alice. Nice.
anywhere that you've got crops growing, you've got migrant workers. That's why they're called migrant workers, because they migrate to the crops. When they harvest one crop and it's done harvesting, they've got to move. They move with the crops. They're like hunter gatherers.
Yeah, but that's a different type of situation. That's actually like organized through like local municipalities and like governments and shit like that.
Yeah, no, I know, but they still migrate.
Yeah.
Follow the crops, like like there's certain times of the year when they're over in Washington picking apples. Like I think that's what, in the fall probably. Whereas, well, I guess a lot of crops are picked in the fall. I don't know, but I know that they like. Did you ever see the movie? There was this movie called, I think it was called Cider House Rules.
I've heard the name, but I don't remember the movie.
And I want to say that they were harvesting cranberries or something. So, but that's what they do. That's why they're called migrants. They're not called migrants because they're migrating in from Mexico or wherever to the United States. They're called migrants because they follow the crops. They migrate.
Yeah, that's different though. The term migrant means somebody just moving from one area to another.
Right. I understand what it means, but I'm telling you, the reason that they call these migrant workers, they call them that, is because they follow the work.
Migrant workers, yeah.
Then being harvested in New Mexico, they're moving wherever the next crop is that needs to be harvested, or whatever field needs to be worked. Because some crops are summer crops, some are spring crops. It just depends on what they are.
And the problem is when the immigration gets out of hand, is those are the first people that suffered because they're the easy target.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember when I was a kid, because I live in an agricultural community. We grow green chilies, we grow cotton, onions, cabbage, I don't know what all, corn. We grow a variety of things down here. But I remember when I was a kid, the Border Patrol used to drive these mint green colored vehicles. They're all solid mint green, and they stood out like a sore thumb. Ugly fucking color. And you would see the trucks, because most of them drove trucks around here, because they would drive the ditch banks and whatever out in the fields, and they would check the workers to see if they were documented or not. And that was when I was a kid. That was like in the 70s, the early 70s.
Well, all I can say is if you're here and you know that, some of the politicians want you here, some of them don't. You're like, oh, is this a safe place for me to be? Like, I don't know. But
And
to
yet
what
they,
the people you're
yet
talking
they
about are
do,
different, though. The,
but
the the workers, migrant workers, are different than people who left, Africa and came up here through South
yeah,
America and all the way. Like that's not the same
no.
thing.
No, and that's a sad thing is that, when they talk about a lot of these issues of people being undocumented, like they just lump everybody into the same category, and they're not. A lot of the migrant workers are the people, these are the poor Mexicans that are coming in, because even though they're not getting paid an American wage, what we would consider a fair American wage, what they earn here is a lot more than what they would earn in Mexico. So, and they send that money home. They live very, very frugally. In fact, a lot of them,
That's not good for us though either. People coming here and extracting wages, sending them back to other
Americans aren't going to
countries.
do that shit. When's the
Huh?
last time you heard of anybody detasseling corn out there that wasn't a migrant?
Kids do it
I,
every year. I did it for years.
yeah, I bet that they're really not doing it that much anymore, because kids don't
Up
want to work
north,
like that anymore.
They've been
up
priced
north,
out they've been priced out by people that are gonna pay like under the table and machines. Go ahead, Dean.
back where I come from, it was all a bunch of white boys, bunch of young white farmers, probably one tooth in the bunch.
Well, there's a lot of things like promoting strong nuclear families to where we can have like more kids and have a stronger birth rate, which would then have us with a stronger amount of younger workforce who would do those kind of jobs. Did you know that Generation Z only has 40 million kids? Like every generation is or maybe it's Gen Alpha. Every generation is increasingly or having increasingly less people. Like it
Yeah.
is, and so you can't expect us to have enough people to do those jobs. And so then some people think in the short term, let's just import the third world. Well, you're importing people like just with the driving example, people that have a whole different way of doing things in that aspect, and then they come to our way of doing things, and then it clashes, and then you end up with a lot of problems. Like look at what's happening in New York with the election. There's going to be a lot of changes in New York, and you're going to see, just I don't know. It's going to get bad, I think, in my opinion. We can argue that if you like, but things like stuff that's been happening in Britain, where there's roving rape gangs and other things like that, because of a difference in ideology and a difference in culture being such a vast amount of fluctuating into a different culture, just like clashing.
Well,
You gotta have.
that's why I'm like, everybody thinks I'm a liberal because like I argue stuff. Like I don't like Trump. People think automatically because I don't like Trump that I'm a liberal, and I am not. I'm very, very against immigration. Not like completely against it. Let me explain what I mean by that. So, and I go back to Rome. Okay, I go back to what happened in Rome, what caused Rome to fall, or some of the factors that caused Rome to fall. The Romans let in too many of their enemies. They let in too many people that at one time that changed, or in groups or whatever, that diluted the Roman culture, that brought in these ways from other people, and it degraded the Roman culture, which
Exactly.
eventually was one of the factors that led to the fall of Rome. And I see that happening here because we let in, I'm not saying to not completely let people in, but I don't remember what the quotas are, but they're a lot. And I'm not comfortable with the quotas being as big as what they have been for a long, long time, since I was, before I was born. The quotas are too high. And I really feel like, a lot of these people are coming in from socialist countries, like Russia, in those areas over there. People are coming in from these countries down in South America that are come in from dictatorships and stuff like that. And
And that's the problem with illegal immigration, is that it actually is part of the immigration process, that assimilation is necessary. But we don't stick to that anymore. Like, that's not something that they actually care about anymore. Like, if you want to be part of a country and a society, you have to assimilate to the society and not come in and try to change it with all the things that you left.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
true, but there's a problem with that, and that is we don't seem to have a cohesive culture anymore for
mm,
them to adhere to, or for them to what's the term? Would you say
acculturate too.
acculturate? Is that a word?
Yeah,
It's
it is a word.
like,
Very much
Huh.
it's an academic word. Acculturate is the act of moving into the culture and becoming part of
Assimilate
that culture. No, it's
is what
not.
I was trying to think of. That's
Yeah,
the
but
word I was thinking of.
assimilation is different. Assimilate is coming in and, like, it's kind of more the melting pot kind of a concept. Acculturate is where you come in and you become part of the culture. Assimilation is not like that. It's different.
Yeah, and I think the melting pot theory, or the phrase, I don't think that works anymore. Really,
I don't think that
I'm not sure it
really
ever did.
did.
Really, yeah. Um,
There's a lot of the academic world, people don't feel like it worked, and I'm of the academic world, and I kind of feel the same way. It doesn't seem, because you had, especially during those periods where you had mass immigration into the larger cities, those people didn't assimilate. They came in and they created little Italy and Chinatown. And you go out to California and there's like these communities out there that are all Russian, or
oh,
all,
yeah.
very ethnic neighborhoods or ethnic communities.
I
And that's
worked in the moving business, and I've moved like people into huge apartment complexes, like gated community places, and it was nothing but Indians. Or another place, it was nothing but Russian.
yeah.
Like the whole place, they're
Yeah.
out like everywhere. Like, it's like little Russia.
Yeah.
Like,
And that's not a modern, I mean, that's not the last 20 years kind of a thing. Like, if you look at, because when I was working on my master's degree in government, I was looking at research related to that kind of stuff, kind of the sociocultural kinds of influences and stuff like that. And I took a class. It was like a self-driven kind of a class, and I looked at, like, there's a book that was written by, I think her name was Jane Addams. She wrote 20 Years at Hull House. And I want to say, if I remember correctly, Hull House is in Chicago. And Chicago was one of the big immigration centers during that period of time where people were mass immigrating to the United States from Europe. And, you know, it was, I don't know, you have just like there's a lot of ethnic diversity here, and they've come in and they've become American, but I don't know, I don't know, they're
Let me
still,
paint you guys a different picture, a more positive, optimistic picture. or maybe I don't know. There's a little, I guess, there's a little fear in this thought as well. Um, Imagine that we don't even have to worry about, uh, I guess, for lack of a better phrase, like our country falling from all these different markers of empires falling. You know that we're running into this era of about the same amount of time when Rome fell and all this and that, all these different like parallels. Imagine that we don't have to worry about that because of AI, and not just AI, but because of the world becoming so much more connected than it has been any other time that an empire's fallen. Uh, think about like Starlink alone bringing internet to the third world and bringing internet to countries that never even had connection to any satellites and stuff like that, sort of connecting the world in such a like a fast. I mean, it's going to go fast, and then it's going to go faster, and it's just going to keep going more fast, and there's going to be a time where everyone's so connected that there's no like fall of America. That's just like it is. Like everyone will just be. I,
I don't think that that's what's going to go down, because
well, yeah, but the country
the
will
one
always
thing
be
that you
here.
can always rely on is human nature.
The
And there's
Yeah,
land.
going to be somebody, if America falls, there's going to be somebody that comes in to fill that void. I promise you.
it will be here. Like think of like France or Greece, like countries that literally collapsed, but they're still here. They're still it's still there's still people there. It's just
Yeah, but it's not what it was.
It's
And
not an
you know
empire anymore. It's not, they
yeah,
don't have the world influence. Everybody looks to the United States. United States is, built on
yeah.
reputation.
I think we foolishly think that we're gonna last a lot longer than we actually are.
Well, the one thing that you have to remember is that freedom is not free. Somebody pays for it every single day. And the reason you pay for it every single day is because you've always got forces out there that are going to try to take your freedom. So you always have to fight for it. You always have to defend it. You always have to be on guard for it. And, I mean, you can take that down to the most basic government. The most basic government that exists is a family. Family is the smallest unit of government, and if you marry somebody that's uber controlling, they're taking your freedom. You don't have that freedom in your marriage. And if you take that small little principle of government and you apply it, globally, there's always going to be somebody out there that wants to control and wants to dominate and wants to take away freedom, and so a democracy is freedom loving, and you have forces out there that are not freedom loving. Even with in our own country, you have people that want to have less freedoms. They say they want more freedom, but when you look at what they're doing, like some of their philosophies or things that they're proposing, it's actually limiting freedom a lot more than what it is giving. People can say a lot of things, but you have to look at what the actions are, and you have to look at what is the outcome. If we do this, what is the outcome going to be down the road with that?
so. Let me ask you this, Kim. And while I ask you, let me tell everybody who wants to get in on the door prize here to hit us one more time. The hashtag PITB right now, and I will put you on the wheel. Let me ask you, Kim. Do you think you said the smallest government being a family, which I love this analogy because I use it all the time. Do you think that if a kid was getting allowance and then you find out the kid was skipping school or doing something wrong, whatever, inappropriate, wouldn't you take that allowance, or would you well, the kid's got to eat. I got to keep giving them that allowance, or would you change something up, or no? Here's a better analogy: sending a kid home, or sending a kid to bed without like hungry because they refused to eat what you cooked them. They wanted something else. You cook this. They wanted something else. Um, like sometimes denying our kids something is for their benefit, and I think a lot of times people with their compassion immediately get upset because they think, well, what about people's health care? What about people have to eat or whatever? But we also forget that we have reasons for not wanting people to be so dependent on things like the government and dependent on uh,
I saw something earlier today. There's this guy, and he's funny as fuck. He does TikToks. You've probably seen his TikToks. I think
watch
I think
TikTok.
he goes by Dad Bod or something like that. He's a Navy veteran, and
Hi, Jess.
he's funny as hell. But anyway, I saw a video that he did earlier today, and he made this. He was talking about why is it that these younger generations have a problem with boomers, with baby boomers, and he said that the reason why. So here was what his rationale was. He said that Gen X were raised by baby boomers, okay, and I'm a Gen X, okay, and that we essentially were raised to be seen and not heard. Our parents fucking were like, get out of the house, go play, go do your thing, be independent, figure life out, kind of a thing. A lot of very hands-off kind of parenting, which was true, okay. And that when we had our kids, we wanted our kids to have a voice. We wanted our kids to stand up against authority, against this kind of whatever, have a voice. And so I think there's a backlash with all of that, because I feel like that's true, because a lot of the times I get really frustrated with people who do not listen to me. And there was a time in my life where I just sucked it up and I dealt with it, but I'm not like that anymore. So if I have something to say, I'm going to say it. And I don't give a fuck who you are. And I think that that's true, because I raised my son to stand up for himself and to be strong and to have a voice and to be intelligent and to have those rights that I didn't feel like I had. But at the same time, here's the deal. I think where a lot of parents go wrong with this is that we don't want our kids to feel pain. We don't want them to fail. We want them to be successful. And it's really, really hard as a parent to sit there and let a kid suffer the consequences of their choices.
Yeah,
And
that's the hard part, is letting.
And you get that, and then you get these parents that want to be friends with their kids instead of parents. Being a parent is the fucking hardest job that you will ever have in life, because you have the stewardship of a child that you have to mold and shape and teach and care for and whatever. And I think that a lot of people have a hard time being hard on their kids. They just do.
I saw something not too long ago that really that really hit home for me, was that every person has the choice of which pain that they want to deal with. Everyone has to make this choice. You absolutely have to make this choice between the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. No matter who you are, life is a struggle. And so, do you want which pick your poison? Do you want the pain of regret? I regret not doing that exercise, not doing that, getting that homework done, or do you want the pain of discipline, which is, oh man, this exercise sucks, but I'm doing it, or this homework sucks, but I guess I'm getting this shit done.
For the absolute pleasure of hedonism.
I think
That's gonna be a regret.
here's what I'm gonna say to that, and this comes from my experience of raising the most headstrong fucking kid I have ever met in my entire life. My son did not listen. One of the earliest stories that I have with him was he was 3 years old. I was in the Air Force. I'd get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to get ready to drive to work. It took me a while to get there. Had to drop him off with the babysitter. And that little fucker would go after my curling iron every single morning. And I would tell him, no, it's hot. It's going to burn you. It's going to give you an owie. Every fucking morning we went through this. And I would, jerk the curling iron away. Well, one morning he was a little faster than what I was. And he got a hold of the barrel of that curling iron and burned the shit out of his hand. And after he did that, he never touched it again. He wouldn't even look at it. Okay. And that's how my son learned. Fast forward to his more rebellious years, probably when he got to be around 10, 11, 12. I could have beat his ass bloody disciplining him. I spanked him. I would pull his pants down and I would spank his bare ass with a paddle. I didn't beat him with it, but I would spank him with it. I could have beat him. And you know what that did? It made him angrier. It made him more rebellious.
Good night, Brandy.
And you have to fucking know your kid. You have to know what's going to work with them and what's not going to work with them. And he was hard because he would not listen. And he had to learn. He learned things the hard way. And
just like I told you last week, I was a badass kid. I didn't listen to any authority, and the reason was I knew the punisher. Like, I knew what I was getting when I was getting home. So might as well go hard and just be a badass, because it's going to be a fucking ass whooping either way. Nobody's going to sit down and talk to you.
Taylor wasn't a bad kid.
Diane, are you here?
He did things. He targeted me a lot. He was angry with me. And so, like, he would take things out on me, and it created problems, and I'm a disciplinarian. Like, I am like, you're living in my house. These are my rules. And by God, spare the rod, spoil the child, kind of a thinking, and I would try to talk to him because I'm a very rational person, and I'll try to problem solve with you, but he fucking wouldn't listen. And he would continually do shit to me personally that created problems where I had to discipline him, like he would steal my stuff, or he, whatever. But he was the kind of kid that he wouldn't listen, and he had to learn things the fucking hard way. And
I think as long as you still did what you could as far as discipline goes, he
got disciplined. I stopped spanking him because I realized that it wasn't
helping. Yeah,
it wasn't doing anything. It was just me spanking him, and it was making it worse because it would make him angry, and so he would turn around and he would be even shittier because I was spanking him.
One day you're able to spank him, the next day he's going to spank you because he didn't get back.
Yeah, and unfortunately, with these kids nowadays, one of the ways that they spank you is by going to school and telling the teacher that we don't have any food in the house. So I would get a social worker that would show up at my door to investigate me. We had plenty of food in the house, but he would go and he would do shitty shit like that. Like, he was an asshole, I'm telling you. And he'll tell you, I was an asshole to my mom. Like, I did some mean things.
One thing abusive parents don't understand is they're training that kid to be way tougher than they've ever been.
Am I smelling next week's topic here? Are we going to talk about abuse next week? That could be a good
Well, you're teaching them not to have empathy, is what you're teaching them. you know. But, it was hard, and like I didn't have the best parenting skills. My parents were terrible parents. So, it was hard, but you have to know your kids. Like with me, I didn't fuck with my dad. My dad would take his belt off and he would spank you with it. And it wasn't that it hurt physically. It didn't really physically hurt me. It hurt my feelings that my dad was spanking me. So I behaved to my dad because I would get spanked, and it was because I didn't want to be spanked by my dad. Now my mom, on the other hand, I didn't have any respect for my mom, and I was a shit to my mom. And my mom never ever stood up against that. I'm the kind of person that I respect somebody that's going to stand up, and my mom never did that. So you have to know your kid, and you have to know what's going to work with them to get them to behave or listen or whatever. What worked mostly with Taylor was modeling. He learned by things being by living the way that we lived. We went to church. We were in church several days out of the week. I was very careful about what I allowed him to watch on TV or the music that he listened to as he was growing up, because I didn't want his mind filled with all kinds of shit. I didn't want him losing the innocence of his childhood. So I was very, very cognizant of that. So he learned he has my values, and his values are better than my values are, actually, in a lot of ways. Because that's the life that's the early formative years of a life that he got from being raised by me.
Well, if
Yeah,
I
you
got
give
a
them good foundation.
Well, he
And
got
I hope over the next couple months that people don't go starving or have to choose between buying food and paying their bills, and we end up with more homeless. And I hope they just figure it out, because that's a sad day in America when we can't take care of our own.
I agree with you
I
100%.
agree.
Amen.
Have a good night, Elisa.
Good night, Lisa.
All right, guys, I just put up the new number post for next week. Remember, it looks like the 11th. Okay, let's see, November the 2nd through the 8th. November the 8th. That's the Sunday, so I guess maybe we might squeak in 2 game nights. Oh, no, that's Saturday. What am I saying? Okay, so November 9th, I will not be doing game night, and I'm going to be taking that week off for my Friendsgiving party on the 15th. Hopefully I'll get some things done for the party, for the house, all this stuff, for the business. Got a lot of plans and a lot of things to try and do that week, so I better plan that out too. Anyway, I'm going to hit this bong one more time and then get out of here. I think I'm going to head over to Locals, though. Got some more Kill Tony to watch if anybody's bored. I'm going to hang out.
Who was the guest this past week?
Roseanne Barr and Pauly Shore. That's a good little combination.
That's a great combo.
If you're, well, I mean, I don't know if you want to jump in at the middle or was it wherever we're at in the show, but you're welcome to come over there. You too, Alice.
Roseanne Barr for?
Huh? She's a guest on the show. She was
She's a
asking
great
why I
guest.
brought her up.
Huh?
I
were-
thought you were asking why she was on the show, but yeah.
She's on a show that I was talking about a minute ago. That's why I brought her up. But
I
yeah,
haven't
she's
heard
in.
from her in a long time.
I don't know, she's got her own podcast. She goes on a lot of podcasts too, other podcasts.
Well, I know
Yeah,
that
she's a great podcast guest.
recently.
Yeah,
I
she
don't
hits the
remember what the
circuit.
hell it was, but What
She
did
told
he?
this good story about how what the Connors, the show The Connors, when they kicked her off and they tried to keep the show going. I
Mm,
guess it was a little like a year or two in later that they messaged or I tried they got a hold of her to try to bring her back, and they were going to make her a play her own ghost.
Yeah.
She's gonna be the
what was
ghost
it she
of
did?
Roseanne.
She did something.
She was on Ambien and she made a joke about a lady looking like Planet of the Apes or some kind of a joke about this. I think it was,
The ladies
I want
from
to say
the
it was a
view.
politician. Oh, a lady from The View, yeah. But the lady happened to be like she's mixed of some kind, black and something. I don't know. She seems like a very light skinned black woman. And
But
they made
Roseanne does have a lot of right wing conspiracy
well
ideas.
that all that started coming out after she got canceled. Then she was like, "Oh yeah, well fine, I'm
Yeah.
gonna talk about all of it then. Let's
You want to
go."
see crazy?
Yeah, right. She just came out with it all after that. That's funny. All right, we're
Yeah.
gonna head over. Well,
Mm.
32 people in the house. One real quick before we go.
So what are we going to talk about next week?
I don't know. It sounded like we hit a chord there with abuse, or maybe just childhood, or something in that effect. A lot of us, everybody started chiming in on that one. So,
Child abuse?
child abuse, or maybe discipline as a topic in general, because it doesn't have to be like, hey, I'm gonna be disciplined at the gym and stuff, but it could be like, I got disciplined like this as a kid, or this is how I discipline my kid. But real quick, before we go, let's read up a little bit about Crypto.com. We've got a couple more days of the month, so we might as well throw this in here. Head to Crypto.com today. Let's be clear, cryptocurrency is no longer emerging. It's here. In this latest move, cement that reality in the biggest way yet. Trump Media Group just linked a massive $6.4 billion deal with Crypto.com, the world's top crypto platform. They're teaming up with the to scoop up $6.4 billion in CRO, a powerhouse taken that fuels fast, low fee DeFi staking rewards and real world perks like cash back on your spending to launch America's first CRO treasury. When it's done, this new company will be the biggest CRO holder out there. Want in on the action? Head to crypto.com today to grab some CRO. Just make crypto great again. Let's go. All right. Well,
What
60,
about
60 cents. I'll take it. Go ahead.
title? Like, is it discipline or abuse? And
What?
then, so like, just that'd be the topic. Is it discipline or abuse?
Or would it be discipline and abuse as a combined topic? Or the question would be, or we could play, actually, discipline or abuse could be like a game where we put up a picture of like a guy with his
I
kid
was
and his
thinking like,
hands in mid swing. I don't know.
then I was saying if that was the topic, then the topic of the stories would be like that line. You know what I mean? Like that you're walking. Like,
Mhm.
I think it's abusive to not parent kids too, to just let them do
Oh right,
to raise themselves.
that
100%. That I think that's a lot of the problem with the young kids now. Somebody brought it up earlier, but like taking all the edges off, like patting all the edges. I mean, like not letting the kids go through the problems and like
Whether it makes them weak.
not letting the kids live their life. It was so much different when we were young.
well, even us, we when we were young, we were made things. A lot of things were made much easier than when our parents were young, and so on and so forth. That is a literal cycle of life. They call it the fourth turning. where it's what is that other phrase like? Um, Strong men make easy times. Easy times make soft men. Soft men make hard times, and hard times make strong men. What?
Hard time, yeah. Hard
No, you
times
thought I was
make
gonna make hard men? No. What do you
Yeah.
think I was gonna say?
hard times make weak men strong.
Yeah. Well, they create strong men. So it's something like every fourth generation is like the weakest sort of generation, where the most coddled, the least disciplined, all these sort of factors go into it. But it's almost like we can't get out of that cycle in life, as humans. But to that point, though, it is almost abusive to our minorities. If you're someone out there that just wants to champion, or not champion, but advocate against racism. Oh, I hate racism. Well, but then you want to overlook the soft bigotry of low expectations, which is where you're racist to someone in a coddling sort of way.
Yeah.
Oh, you just can't think for yourself because you're this or this race. You're just not able to handle it. Let me take care of it for you, or let me come in and be the savior, the white savior they call it. And that is a problem where you they've done studies. I don't want to get too political, but they've done studies on one side versus the other side. It does sort of speak, literally lower their IQ, in their speech when they talk to minorities, which is that is racist when you want to try to dumb down your speech when you talk to someone just because you think they're lesser than. So it's a very similar thing.
Yeah, well, they typically do that with people that are not native English speakers.
Yeah, that too.
Very common.
Yell louder. What I'm saying is,
Yeah.
you need to go down the street.
There's a bunch of videos of Kamala getting into her hood voice when she goes into New York and shit.
Yeah, changing the accent when you go somewhere.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Well, but the thing is as a teacher, one of the things that you're taught is that there is this hidden racism with people that are second language learners, and the lower expectations. Like, people think, they used to. There's this. I had a professor, one of my professors, when I was getting my second master's in special education. He had a PhD. He was a school psychologist. That was what his career had been before that. And his parents, he grew up in San Antonio, Texas, and his parents were Mexican. I don't know if they were Mexican immigrants. They were definitely Spanish speaking only, but they were labeled in the education system as educably mentally retarded. And it had nothing to do with their intellectual capacity. It had everything to do with the fact that they did not speak English. And so one of the things that they found, and it's not just with Mexicans, it's with anybody that's non-English speaking, is that people automatically perceive them as being intellectually less because they did not speak the same language. We do that with animals too. Animals are smart, but we don't speak the same language. So we look down on them because we don't have the ability to communicate. We see them as less.
That's a crazy label.
Yeah, but it's true, and it still goes on to this day. I see it all the time as an educator.
It's Jose. He's a little slow. Nah, he's just Mexican.
Yeah.
It's like a crazy label to like just because you don't understand the person. Like he must be a little mental.
Yeah, and they they get labeled as lazy and all kinds of stuff, and it's like I grew up in this area where we have always had Mexicans. We've had American Mexicans that have lived here for generations that were here before this was America. We have Mexicans that have come up here from Mexico. And I have very seldom run into a lazy, stupid Mexican. Those people are problem solvers like crazy because anytime you live off the land where you have to fucking scrape by for your sustenance, you're a problem solver. You have to figure out how to live. And those people are fucking smart as hell.
I
First
think
of all, and second of all, they're not lazy. Like they do hard. Go out and do some of the fucking picking that those people do. It's hard labor. It's terrible.
I gotta contest the lazy term because I think some people, and this is my opinion here, but I think when some people, and you can equate this to like take immigration out of it and say criminals. Some people will say lazy criminals. A lot of criminals aren't lazy, but I think the term, what it really means is you work outside of the system, you take from the system, but don't, but like find ways to do things under the table and outside of the law and this and that. And I think that's what it really means. Like when I say, but obviously what we're thinking of, and most of us, at least, I think I agree with you on this, Kim. When I hear someone say that, I'm imagining them saying, "Oh, they must just be sitting around on a couch somewhere eating Cheetos." And it's like I don't think anybody can really do that these days, except for people who game the system in some way, and that can still be the same similar connection to the term. Like I'm saying, how you're gaming the system when you're called lazy. Is kind of
Well, I
maybe
don't.
what connection.
I'm not sure that that's how they apply it to the Mexican culture. The Mexican culture, one of the things that I really, really appreciate about them, it's hard though, because, I come from the white culture, so the white culture is very German influence. That productivity, that work ethic comes from Germanic.
You think
So,
work ethic is racist?
no, I'm not saying that.
That's a talking point out there, and that's why being laughed is because
Well,
they say things like
I,
it's white, it's considered white to be on time and to like
no, that's
pay your
German.
bills.
The influence of that shit is German. That's a German. Those are Germanic traits. That productivity and stuff like that. It's good old Germanic traits.
You
And
don't think
the
there's
Germans fucking influenced
do with it.
everybody in Europe.
you don't think there's productivity in like China or Japan or anywhere?
No, but it's different. It's different. Their work ethic's different. But when you look at Mexican culture is highly influenced by Native American, by the Native American cultures, where these people originated from. And
Spain. What about Spain?
no, Spain, there's influence from Spain, but that's mostly like church kinds of stuff.
Conquistadors.
Yeah, it came mostly the conquistadors were not the ones that taught people. It was the church. So the Spanish influence, in my opinion, and in my experience and in my studies, predominantly came from the church, from the friars and whatever you call them, the Catholic Church
That
people.
still sounds like Spanish influence.
It is, but it's different than the conquistadors, okay? Because the conquistadors were just men out there trying to guns, gold, and glory.
Guns.
Yeah.
I guess they
Anyway,
had maybe had one.
the Mexican culture, and I can't speak for Puerto Rican or any of the other Latino cultures, but the Mexican culture is very, very strongly influenced, even still to this day, by Native American ways of doing things. And they're very, very family oriented, and they're very, very community oriented. And tribal people were very much were an extended family. They were families. They're, got
Kim, you got it like you sound like you're in a fishbowl or something.
maybe because I'm too close to
There you
my.
go. Yeah, that's better. Yeah.
But um, they value, like, one of the things that white people don't understand is that they prioritize family over work. So whereas as a white person, like, you got to work, you got to earn your way, you gotta compete with the Joneses, you got to keep up with the Joneses, whatever that standard of living. And people that are a lot of the Mexican people that are not as acculturated into the white culture are more family oriented. So they'll disappear for a couple of months. They're American citizens. They live here. They have their life here, everything. But they'll disappear for a month or maybe a couple of months, and they'll be down in Mexico with their family and
Working.
just hanging out with their family because there's family stuff going on. So they're very, very family oriented. And so I think the laziness comes from that, and the fact that they don't work themselves to the grindstone like white people do. White people will work themselves into the fucking ground.
Well, hold on though, but we won't do jobs that they'll do though. So how does that?
So
How does that equate with
we
that
will
whole
work
talking point?
we will work ourselves into the ground. Look at how stressed everybody is.
So we would do the picking and stuff if we're gonna work that hard, working ourselves into the ground.
Well, I heard a story one time. It's rich guy goes down to Mexico all the time, and this Mexican guy got a shack on an island, and he grows his own fruit, his own food, and all that stuff. And this rich guy he's down there all the time, and eventually asks him, like, hey, why don't you the guy got his own fishing business. He's like, why don't you or fishing boat? He's like, why don't you make like a business out of this fishing boat? He's like, why would I do that? He's like, well, so you can get more fish and then you get more money. He's like, yeah, but why would I do that? He's like, well, then you can build a business and you can hire more people and you can get more money. He's like, yeah, but why would I do that? And long story short, he eventually gets to the point. He's like, so that you can eventually sit at home and grow your own fruit and just hang out. He's like, yeah, but why would I do that? That's what I already do.
He's already doing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I think some of it has to do with where you live and whether or not you're being forced into regulations and things that you have to pay for and things like property tax, whatever. So, but to your point though, Kim, I have to push back a little bit on this. The family oriented, in general, yes, I agree that there's like the keeping up with the Joneses kind of mentality, but there's also the fact that, hey, I got to go to work and I got to be there on time because if I'm not on time, I'm going to get fired. And if I don't go to work, I'm not going to be able to pay the bills that put the house over my family's or the roof over my family's head and the food on my family's table. So how can you say that on one hand it's not necessarily family oriented to go to work on time and to make sure that you're, getting your job done when you know for a fact that you can't just be a deadbeat in America and decide not to go to work for a month because family things going on and then not pay your bills. And so it just depends on the culture. So for instance, I know someone from Africa who says that they don't pay property taxes. You can just go off into the distance and then just pick a place and say, okay, this is where I'm going to build my house, and that's your place. And you just have that. That's just your house. Like that, you're just there. You have it. You own it. There's no no one's coming by to zone it or whatever, which to me sounds like chaos in the long term. But I think it matters. The culture differences do matter. And to your point with Mexico, maybe they're more used to that in Mexico. Maybe they can still somehow function that way. But in America, you are caring about your family by going to work, unless there's that trope of like the dad who's a workaholic or whatever, and there is that too much point.
I'm
The
telling
moderation.
you, if you were to move here, you would see the distinct difference when you move to
Everyone
when
just
you come to
disappears for a
New
while.
Mexico. When you come to New Mexico, you are stepping back into an old world. It's very you will never understand it because you don't live here. You have to come here to experience it. And then you're going to be like, what the fuck is this? It's called the land of mañana. So mañana means tomorrow. And everything's tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. They have their own fucking time. They have their own fucking way. And it dominates the culture in this state. Big time. And it's like that in Mexico. It's culturally, it's the way it is. And it's very family driven. It's like they don't have the same timing. And that's a big cultural clash. They don't have the same timing that white culture has. People move here from California, these big areas, and they flip the fuck out because you can't get somebody here in a timely manner to do work on your house, or they don't show up at all, or whatever. And they have different priorities, and they're not going to fucking work themselves to the nitty gritty like white people do.
I mean, we have plenty of lazy people too, though. So
hard workers, dude. They work hard.
I don't like to think of people as monoliths, though. Like even within the white community, if you want to call it that, because like that's such a new way to phrase it. White, like there's what a dozen races within the white race or whatever. Like
when I say white, I am referring specifically to the Germanic work ethic. What a lot of people don't understand about white culture, or they don't think about with white culture, is that after the Roman culture fell, the Germans came in and they took over all those Roman held lands. And so England, we think of England as being English. We think of France as being French. We think of Spain. Spain pretty much hung on to their identity through the centuries. But most of the lands in Europe that were once part of the Roman Empire, which went all the way up to the borders of Scotland and Great Britain, were Roman held, right? When the Romans lost power, that was all taken over by Germans. The French are Germans. The French were Germanic tribes.
The barbarians.
Mm-hmm. And so their imprint on European culture is, you don't think of it as being Germanic, but it is Germanic. There is a very strong imprint of Germanic ways in the vast majority of the cultures in Europe. I think the Spanish, I don't think that they were as impacted. I'm not sure why, except that the Spanish were occupied by like Arabic people. I can't think of what they were called, the Muslims and stuff. That particular culture. So their influence is maybe more with that. But most of Europe and maybe Italy, most of Italy was able to hang on to its Italianisms or whatever, its culture. But most of the people in Europe were strongly influenced by Germanic tribes. And so a lot of the ways that we as Caucasians we carry a lot of those cultural ways from those ancient peoples. And we don't think about it. Like when I think about things like, well, my family were English or Italian or, whatever. But there's a lot of German influence in the way that we are. And those people came here to the United States or came here to the New World, and they brought those ways with them. And when you get around people that are not European, that don't have those particular cultural values or whatever the fuck you want to call them, ways of doing things, you get around Chinese people. Dude, have you ever been around a lot of Chinese? Have you ever lived like around a large settlement of Chinese people or Asian people? Like, you'll notice big time the way they're so different. The
I
way
get all that, but I still honestly don't think that being on time, and that was kind of one of the main things that started that little conversation. Being on time is not just a Germanic thing either.
No,
Like
it was laziness.
every
They're turned
every
lazy because of the way that they are. And they are not lazy people. They're fucking hardworking people. But I understand where people would call them lazy, because they do take siestas. And they literally fucking will disappear. You have family, if you have a Mexican family that still has ties to family down in Mexico, they'll be gone. They'll get up and they'll be gone.
Yeah, I see your point. I see your point. Well, okay, all right, guys, let's get going here. We got 10 people still over here on the Facebook. Hey, Rose, how do I find the live on Rumble? We are live on Rumble. Looks like we lost most everybody over there. Not all Germanic people were what you think. So many were also in camps.
They were tribal. They were tribal people. Everybody was
Really?
tribal over there at one point.
Yeah, I mean, we've all been.
Early, pre-Julius Caesar and all of that, Italy was even tribal at one time. But, civilizations developed and grew, and they started expanding their empires and, doing all the war and blah, blah, blah.
I think we've done this a few times, though. I think we've done it a few times. That's my opinion. So I think we're in agreement next week. Discipline or abuse. Discipline. I think we said discipline or abuse. That's a good one. I'll have to write that down so we don't forget. Tell me your R without telling me your R. What do you mean, Rose? What you mean, Rose? Tell me about it. I'm going to head over to locals in just a minute. I messed up my paperwork. I want to write this down so I don't forget. Bean, thanks for hanging out, man. As always, you're welcome over there. Welcome over on locals to chill if you want. Let's see. Let's do. Got to come up with a game for this month still, so I was thinking about messing around with that. Thinking about something that's like Battleship. We seem to enjoy that, and maybe if I can find a different twist on it than what we played before. So thinking about something like that. We'll see.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, I was thinking like a
Battleship.
Yeah, I was thinking like a big, like this huge thing where there's like 20 different ships to find. So we got 20 prizes, and so everyone will just go in, take turns, and whoever picks the spot that finishes out a ship, if that makes sense, like the last spot on a ship, they'll get the prize. So I think that'll be my project this week. I am going to an event at Level Up in Springfield this weekend, and oh man, I got to get the Level Up Mycology giveaway done. If you guys haven't got in on it, it's free to get in on. We should, you know what? We should have done this already, but there's some good ones here. Like Ricky says, he would have stayed if he stays up. If he could stay up late, he would have come on. He has strong opinions, he said. Too bad he doesn't stay up a little later. We can actually change the time of the show now, but it is, I don't know, I still kind of like the show time. It is tough for me every other week for getting my son in bed and stuff by this time, but I don't know. I don't see a time that would be better for this, so we're gonna keep it Let's see. Shay says, "This is what kept me alive as a child. People think for 1 second this is a good thing and are happy to see it go. I'd love to personally deliver a knuckle sandwich. Elderly people depend on that. Children will go hungry." Well, children are going hungry anyway for lots of reasons, but that's just semantics. Um, Tina
Well, you know
says,
what hurts about a lot of this too is that back in May or whenever it was, the summer or late spring, they did away with the commodities. So I don't know that there's even commodities, like the cheese and all of that stuff that they gave out. I don't know that the commodities are even there anymore.
for what? What do you mean? I'm sorry. Like for like government cheese and
Yeah.
well, some of that cheese was left over like just from like war efforts and stuff, and they
Well,
passed it out for years.
yeah, I don't know, but it's more than just the cheese. There's a lot of stuff that went with that. Like I don't know
Well,
what
that's
all.
why they made the SNAP or like the other
No,
programs
the
to where
commodities were they also gave away commodities, and they give them the food banks. They is where a lot of that stuff went to.
hmm,
So, but they did away with the commodities. So, like the food banks are not getting that benefit of that food from the government anymore. I don't know if they completely did away with it or like I was trying to research it and I couldn't really ascertain like if it was fully removed or what the deal was, but that program was gutted by Doge.
it was not connected to the SNAP.
Uh-uh. It was a
Hmm.
separate thing.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit like a weird thing. Probably do something different. Um, Diane says, always fun with Bean Dongo. And Rose, no, we did not do scary stories yet. Rose has a scary story for us about her hearing a bouncy ball in a place where no one was at. Um, okay, let me read a few of these. Tina says, my parents got assistance when I was little. The old paper food stamp books. Many years later, they got a notice from the federal government stating a uh, miscalculation gave them too much at some point. They had to pay back a little bit. That story always cracked me up. To be clear, my parents made no errors. It was government error. I also used assistance after my divorce while I went to nursing school. Best decision I made was going back to school. Help was temporary. I think it's important for people to become self-sufficient. Relying on the government keeps you stuck and dependent on them. Yeah, I mean, we have so many examples of this where we don't want something to get dependent by giving it everything. Like, don't feed the bears, obviously, it's a big one. Diane says, I received WIC when my kids were babies on up to 5 years old. Formula, powdered milk, peanut butter, powdered eggs, baby cereal. I forgot what else. Even though I worked, I was single, raised 3 babies on my own, so the WIC was greatly appreciated at the time. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it is awesome, but WIC does run out, and that's no pun intended with that. WIC does run out. Um, Bean's frozen. No, he's just asleep. Okay, there he is.
Eyes are getting a little heavy.
That weed's
It's
kicking in.
about that time for him anyway, though. It's getting that time. Um, Mary says, this is sad. Times are tough as usual, but inflation has gone whack as fuck since COVID times. Kids already go to bed hungry. Elderly go without meals. Disabled are being affected. So I agree. Ones who can work should receive it. Not really. What? So do I agree? Ones who can work should receive it. Not really. Nails and hair did can wait. Our hairdos can wait. What can't wait is hunger. A major overhaul of those have been on it for a very long time and have jobs should be reviewed. but disabled, VA, SSI. Yeah, I mean, I think it should be a little stricter, regardless. As someone who's been on it myself and gotten off of it, I think Bean made the point last week where like the whole idea is that you don't want it's a temporary help up. It's not supposed to be meant for a long-term strategy of life, you know.
Yeah.
Rose says, I sure hope I get to eat this month. And we got Happy Hippie 365 says, hashtag pro-life, hashtag means all the time, hashtag not just in the womb. So making a pro-choice argument against a pro-life person.
Not just
Something.
pro-choice. It means, you know, because one of the things that a lot of Democrats or a lot of liberals say, you know, the Republicans want, you know, they don't want abortion. They think everybody should be born. And one of the things that the Democrats say is that, you know, well, you want them to be born, we have to take care of these people, you know.
Right, it's a pro-choice
yeah,
talking
but it
point to
goes
say
deeper
this.
than pro-choice. It goes to like the whole lifetime of that person needs to be taken care of.
Right, but the
All life
pro-choice
matters.
movement says this in order to point out what you're saying against the pro-life movement, which, you know, you can say the terms are wonky, but that's the terms. Now, to what you're saying is that they want to point out that Republicans don't want to just pay for people's entire lives after they're born. I think that's such a silly argument, though, because you can't just what you want. What I think the pro-life movement wants is everyone to have a fair chance at life. And once you're born and once you're past a certain age, which we could argue what age that is, you are it's under your own choices to live life. And I get both sides of this. You just
What
can't.
happens when you get old and you can't take care of yourself?
Well, then that's why we created the social safety nets that we have.
Exactly. So I think that that's what she's getting at there. That's how I took it, as not just in the womb. Like,
well, right, but the implication here is that people who are pro-life are not actually pro-life because they don't want to take care of people throughout the rest of their lives.
No,
and that's not true because we pay taxes just like anyone on any other side of anything.
No, I think what they're saying is a lot of these babies that are aborted are, being aborted by women that are low income.
Well, okay, let me reiterate what you're saying.
Here we are, you want us to keep these babies, but then you don't want to support us in raising them, kind of a thing. So it's a circular argument, because it's like, the thing is that, okay, you're low income. Well, okay, so what do we need to do to get you to a place where you're not low income, so where you can be a productive citizen that pays their way in life?
Bean?
I just think it's an insane stance that I don't have enough money, so I'm going to off my offspring. I think the more productive stance is responsibility. Like, take responsibility before or after conception, but I don't. That's a whole different topic. We could go into a whole can of worms there.
Yeah.
That is a can of worms, but you know what? It's important to talk about, because people, there are layers to some things, and sometimes people want to just make it a quick slogan or a quick, easy way to or boil it down to something. And I don't think it's as simple as saying anyone is quote pro-life or pro-choice. I think people have nuance in both directions. And you can also find out real quick if somebody is bullshitting you in that topic, because all you got to do is find out. Like, okay, for instance, if I'm talking to someone who says, well, What about all those poor babies being forced to be born from incest and rape and this and that? Okay, if you give them that, say, okay, you know what, that's wrong. Every one of those babies, every one of those situations should be able to choose. Now, can we agree that the rest of them should be, discouraged? And as soon as a person cannot get over that point, and oh no, no, all of them should be allowed.
Yeah, I'm
It's
even
just,
more
it falls
extreme than
apart.
I'm even more extreme than that on that topic. I don't like the term force. The only in one of those situations, the only force in the situation is the forced sex act. The rest of it is prevention.
Right.
There's no forcing you to have a baby. We're preventing you from doing what a lot of people would consider as a heinous act.
I just
I
think
see.
that it's not anybody's business what somebody does with their body.
But it's not
Uh,
just their body involved.
yeah, well, definitely not when you talk about the
It
government
is whenever
subsidizing it. The government putting money into it at
I don't
all
I
in
don't think
either direction is bad, in my
the
opinion.
government should be paying for it. I don't think that that's right. But I don't think that people should be telling people what to do with their body.
But
And
when it comes to another body,
but a
then
fetus cannot exist outside of its host.
well, sure it can. In some places, it can a lot earlier than other places, but to draw that line is just arbitrary. Is it a life or not?
Yeah.
It
I mean, I understand it, and I understand it from a Christian point of view too. But I just
but
don't.
even from a humanistic point of view, like, is it like the no harm principle? Like, do you weigh on the side of not harming human? Like, is that like a humanitarian thing to do? You know what I mean? Like, I would think in almost any worldview, I don't understand how people have been so like I don't know how it became so like prevalent in our society for it to be so popular. Because the way that I see it, I don't look at it as pro-choice or pro-life either. The real stance is pro-abortion or anti-abortion. Like, when you really boil it down, because like
Yeah,
if you're pro-choice but you're
I,
not really like abortions for all, like we can actually discuss this. We can have a conversation and we can probably come to some common ground somewhere. But if it's just like abortion up until 9 months and I can't justify anything with you, like that's really the argument that goes down.
yeah. Well, I'm personally for my own personal self, I'm anti-abortion. I don't think I personally I don't like it. I don't think it's not something that I would that I would want to do. And I don't have a dog in the fight. I had a complete hysterectomy a long time ago, so I haven't been able to bear children for a long time. So, but at the same time, like, don't tell me what I'm going to do with my body, and you
Well,
don't understand that because you're not a woman, okay? And you haven't walked the path of a woman.
sure, we do understand that.
that's
You're
not a
talking about
fair
the
argument.
draft. The draft is about my body. They tell me
Women,
what they
no,
tell
no,
me what
no,
I'm
no,
going to do with
no,
my body as a
no, no,
man.
no, 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 no.
Yes, they do.
No,
I
no, no,
signed
no.
it.
You will never understand because you're not a woman. Women have never, I shouldn't say
Women
never.
don't have to be
That's a
drafted.
terrible argument.
Women have traditionally, in most patriarchal societies, have not had control over their bodies.
Nobody has had control over their bodies
Yeah.
in almost all of history.
That's not true. But so, when you're dealing with a woman, you're dealing with women that are sick and tired of people telling them what they can and cannot do with their bodies, or how they can behave, or what they can
Yeah.
do with their life.
There's two bodies,
Women's
though.
lives have been completely controlled by men for a long, long time, and women are tired of it. So I think that that's part of what probably is behind
All right, so
the pro-choice.
how instead of preventing you from getting abortions, we just outlaw the doctors from being able to perform them. Then I'm not telling you what to do with your body. I'm telling the doctor what they can't do to other people.
That's the same thing.
How's that the same thing?
I'm telling the doctor what they're not allowed to do to other people.
Well, here's an idea. Let me turn this around on you, because you're making this all about the women. Okay? Let me tell you something else too. A lot of the times women get pregnant and they get abandoned by the baby daddy. And why is it that the woman gets stuck with that shit? The man is just as fucking responsible. Half of him created that baby, but he ain't anywhere around. He's not taking care of that kid. Whatever.
That's a product of the welfare state and no-fault divorce, and there's a bunch of things that play into that. We don't really promote the nuclear family anymore. Like, that's why
I grew up in a time when there was a nuclear family. Divorce was not common, and my parents got a divorce. And you know what happened to me? My dad decided he didn't want to pay child support. He was court ordered to pay child support. My dad decided, I don't want to pay child support because it's going to go to my ex-wife, right? So he didn't pay child support.
Just working
and
at the
my mom
table or
really
something.
starved to death. Okay. Back then, moms were stay-at-home moms. My mom had a hell of a time getting a job. She was college educated. You know what she got a job doing? Waiting fucking tables, making pittance. Okay. So.
Yeah, but and it's also a different time though. Like, we're 40 years into.
It doesn't matter. There's plenty of motherfuckers out there, and it's gotten better. It's not like it was when I was a kid, as bad, but it's still not that great either. There are still plenty of baby daddies out there that don't fucking take care of their kids.
I completely agree. I'm not putting the blame on
because they go out, everybody goes out and they fuck and they make babies, and nobody wants to be responsible. Or only half of the parent is responsible.
Well, that's why I'm not. I'm not putting the full blame on the woman, but at the end of the day, she is the one carrying the child.
Typically, the one that fucking gets saddled with all of that shit.
Well, because 100% of the time, she's the one that's left with the decision. The man doesn't get a single decision in that situation. If the woman wants to do away with the man's child, he can't say, "I want my child." And if the man wants to do away with the child, he's stuck with it for 18 years. Yeah. Like, a man doesn't get a single say. Like, it's not about equality of my body, my rights, and all that stuff. There's another life involved. Like, that's the end. At the end of the day, there's another life involved.
And there's plenty of situations
inside the room or outside the womb. Like, what's the difference between one day outside of the room and one day inside? Like, it's just location at that point.
Yeah.
There's plenty of situations too, Kim, where the woman keeps the child from the man, or makes all these different court issues.
By and large, the problems come from the man fucking walking away and not wanting any goddamn responsibility. I'm going to tell you something. I have this really good friend, love him to death. He comes from, I love his family, just salt of the earth people. His dad was fucking Johnny Appleseed. Okay. And the man screwed all kinds of women. Like, I cannot tell you how many brothers and sisters, because of DNA, how many brothers and sisters he's found scattered across the United States that were his dad's kids.
Wait, was that what Johnny Appleseed was about?
Hell no! He didn't raise those kids. Huh?
Yeah,
so
but
wait, is that what Johnny Appleseed was about?
No, but you know what I mean.
Now we're talking about our programming, our nature, or our instinct, I guess. I'm not sure what the right terms are for it. Men are programmed to procreate, and it's a religious.
Are women, dude. Let me tell you something.
But you totally glossed over Bean's point earlier when he said the woman is 100% of the time the one who carries the baby. So if we're going to complain about what happens after the conception, you're going to have to give the women, we'll have to take, like, we're not talking about rape and incest and all that stuff. You want to bring that up, we can talk about it. It's a small percentage of these cases that we're talking about. But if one person is more responsible for what happens than the other person, then I would think that would be the person that would be saying no more, using contraception more, using, like all of the, every stop that they, or every, thing they can use. But to your point, Kim, women have sex drives too. Women have, urges, right?
Well, and
I get that.
here's the thing: there's contraception for men too. Get a vasectomy. Like there's
Or use
solutions for that
condoms,
shit
yeah.
too. And
Yeah.
vasectomy isn't necessarily it's reversible. In fact, I know I know a family that the husband got a vasectomy 3 times, and the wife got pregnant 3 times. And she finally said, "Okay, I'm done." And she went and got shit taken care of because
Yeah.
stuff
Not
grew
all
back.
birth control works, right?
So,
Other than abstaining. That's the only thing that really works.
well, and they were a married couple, so there's not going to be abstaining. They were doing what they do, but
Doing what they do. Speaking of what they do,
but
we need to wrap this up.
men don't want to think about having contraception. They want to put it back on the woman because
I
and
mean, we've had condoms for a
the
long
woman is the
time.
one that fucking gets stuck with it.
I've been with my girl for almost 10 years, and we still wear condoms. So
Wow.
I don't want no fucking babies.
That's a trooper.
You don't want any
Wow.
babies?
I don't want an oopsie. I got a son. I'm cool.
If you really don't want any more babies, then just get the procedure so that you can take that sheepskin off, baby.
It's whatever.
Well,
It ain't that much different.
Just take the kitchen knife, kitchen scissors to it. There you go.
God, don't say that. That makes me squinch.
Well, I'm getting surgery. We talked about it. It makes me squinch too when I think about them shoving some kind of it's a little corkscrew shaped piece, and he said it was titanium. I was like, so we're gonna put and basically the vein is going to dissolve and disappear, and then I'm gonna have these titanium little corkscrews just rolling around in my sack, just hanging out. I'm like, what? Like, what's gonna happen? Like, it's not magnetic, I guess. Can you imagine just rip right out the side when I go to get an MRI or something? Or yeah, I get stuck. My sack gets
I would be more worried about, how your body, like when you get a foreign body in your body, it like works its way out. I would be more worried about that shit. Like,
They actually sit on your nut and it gets jammed in there.
Oh my God. It made me fucking squinch, dude. Like, don't do that. Like, and I don't have a nut sack, so like, ugh.
I think overall, I think people, when it's hard times, when the fourth turning, when there's like hard times, talking Wild West days, you end up having to stay together as a unit. You have to have a bunch of kids because you need more help on the farm, more help on the. And now with through technology and through all sorts of innovation and factory sort of ways of doing things, assembly lines, we don't need that so much anymore. So you have to make the decision to want to have kids, and the sex drive is still there, but the need to have kids is not there, other than to prop up our society, which we've talked about before, population decline, or the amount of population replacement, I guess, numbers to keep our population. Actually, it has to grow. Whether or not you want to grow fast is probably, I would say grow fast is probably not a good idea, but your population has to increase in size over time in order to take care of all the people that as we get older. If I'm making sense there. So there is a need for us to have more kids, but not a direct like on my farm I need more hands. I don't like that kind of need where if I don't, little Timmy's gonna have get freaking gangrene and die because he went outside and got a little cut on his hand. Like little things back then was just gonna, your kids were all gonna die from little tiny scratches or exposure to the wrong water or something. Anyway, let's get wrapped up here. That's going to be a good one next week, though. Discipline or abuse next week. All right, appreciate you guys hanging out. Rose, I'm seeing a lot of good comments over here. We're getting a lot of people riled up about that topic. We should just talk abortion one week. Anyway, I think we can do it. This was a good one too, guys. Thanks again. Hit the like button if you haven't done so. Go follow Bean. Go follow Fire in the Hole, and find the group on Facebook. Join up. I'm gonna head to locals for a few minutes to wind down. I'll be there in just a couple minutes right after this. Bean, you have anything you want to put out?
No, I ain't been doing shit.
Okay. Take your siestas when you can. And Kim,
Fire in the Hole 710. Fire it, Facebook.
go follow Kim and watch the unraveling or the I don't know how else to put it of the projects of the house. We'll see you next week. Thanks, Kim. Thanks, Bean. Thanks, everybody. Peace out. Remember, we all got to eat. So I hope you all will hunker down the next week. It's going to be a little bit of a weird one. It could get crazy. We really didn't even talk about that very much, actually, which kind of sucks. That there could be riots, there could be people trying to steal your food on the outside, coming outside of the grocery stores.
Did you see where I saw it was out of one of the Albuquerque up north news agencies where Trump is going to activate like 500 per state military coming up in the next, I don't remember when it is, the time frame in the next year.
Some people
I firmly expect that he's expecting there to be rioting with a lot of the stuff that's going on.
Well, there's a lot of speculation in there because in the 2020 riots, the Summer of Love riots, he largely took a hands-off approach and let the governors do their thing because he didn't want to be called a tyrant or a fascist and all this and that, which they're going to call him anyway. And so now this time around, he doesn't really have a lot to lose to then go ahead and actually use the military when he can to help quell things like that. Now, I also have seen this, though, Kim, and maybe you agree with this. He can use this, and maybe it was all on purpose. Some people are theorizing it was all on purpose in order to enact the Insurrection Act. Because, boom, as soon as everyone starts rioting, and then, or maybe not the Insurrection Act, but either way, it was something that he could enact, or maybe martial law, I forget what. Anyway, something to the effect of him being able to use this then to enact. I can't remember now. I thought it was Insurrection Act, but that doesn't make sense. Maybe I thought the Insurrection Act had to do with a political statement, although that would be terrorism as well.
I think dude, like, I don't know. I don't understand his justification for a lot of the things that he's doing. He's not obeying the Constitution. And so
Do you think that it has been obeyed on all sides, on any side? I'm seeing a lot of they're both. It's a war. It's a war right now between it's a non-kinetic war. Although there have been kinetic, at least a few kinetic points. Obviously, assassination of Charlie Kirk. Assassination attempts of Donald Trump. It has become kinetic. But right now, there's a war going on, and it may not be a civil war. It may not be a full-on battles or whatever. But the government, they're all taking turns just doing things. They can just do things without And it just like if they have the willpower to do it, it's basically all that's needed. Judges overstepping their bounds, doing different things that's unconstitutional, but if it sticks, it sticks. Basically, if they can do it and it sticks and it gets past a certain point, yep, everything's cool. Anyway, there's a lot of weird things happening, like them investigating the whole auto pen thing, which is also weird because Biden came out and said, "Oh yeah, I did it." So that's supposed to be enough to be like, okay, all of his pardons are acceptable because he says it was him. Because if he didn't say that, then they could somehow say that he didn't do it and that was someone of the auto pen or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that's a silly like investigation happening right now. They're doing all that, and it's like I feel like that's it's a moot point. Most of us know, and a lot of Democrats even after the fact have come out with books and stuff and tell-alls about, oh yeah, he was definitely in decline. We know, everyone knew on both sides, but they just didn't want to say it. All right, I'm rambling. Let's get out of here. Bye, Kim. We'll see you later. Have a good weekend, guys. We'll see you for game night on Sunday, 1 o'clock Central Time. Later. Remember, everybody's got to eat. Peace.
Yeah, this is for my green thumbs in the game. Wailing the indoor farmer, check my name. Sustainability, we about to reclaim. This is how we do it, keep it in the frame. I'm Waylon the farmer, the indoor king. Living off the grid, what the city can't bring. Got my hydro set up, my LED lights. Growing all my greens, all through the night. Self-sustain, that's the mission. Growing my own, I'm not missing. Indoor farming, the hustle's real. Waylon's here.